Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News channel. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, special guest, Derek Smith, has another new book out. This one about Freedom Fighter hero Tamara Lich. Lots of other stuff to talk about tonight. Joe Biden announcing a predated end to the COVID pandemic. So we'll talk about that tonight as well. Beyond that, I'm not sure where we're going. We'll see where things take us as the evening progresses. But I'm sure the conversation will be lively. And I'm sure we'll go to the phones as well so that you can participate in the conversation. Stay with me. Lots ahead as we continue.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, I'm back. And it looks like President Biden has decided the pandemic is over. May 11th is the date. But the media, I don't think that the media is entirely happy about it. So he made these, well, he made the remark, I guess, during a broadcast of 60 Minutes over the weekend on Sunday. And he says that there's still a problem with COVID, says they're still doing a lot of work on it, but the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks, he says. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, is what he said on 60 Minutes. And yet, the public health agencies continue to push people toward getting booster shots. And even in Canada, and I'll bring this up, mainstream media is still pushing this idea that COVID is still with us. COVID is not done, Canadian infectious disease expert says, ahead of WHO announcement. And as you can see here, there's still injecting fear. COVID is not done, Canadian infectious disease expert says ahead of WHO announcement. There's your headline. As RSV and flu cases steadily decline in Canada, the World Health Organization is set to announce Monday whether it still considers COVID-19 a global health emergency. Ahead of that announcement, one of Canada's top infectious disease specialists warns that the WHO's consensus doesn't necessarily mean the virus is behind us. I think it's important to point out that this is not about whether COVID is gone or not, said Dr. Lisa Barrett, an assistant professor in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology, as well as the Department of Medicine and the Faculty of Medicine at Dalhousie University. Some people just don't want to let go of it, I guess. I just don't know. It's interesting to watch all of this, to say the least. How do they pick a specific date for an end to a pandemic in the future? You would sort of think that they would be checking the stats, and when it's over, they would say it's over, but they pick a date in the future. Perhaps my thinking on that is incorrect. Maybe you need to look ahead to the future and say, well, if nothing, we'll end it here, and this is our cushion zone. It looks like it's over now, but maybe they're saying, well, we'll deal with it. Do you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me, but none of this has really made sense from the beginning. Fear being spread everywhere. So just keep your eyes on that, even though that May 11th date has been set in the US as a marker, an end date to the pandemic. I'm not so sure that it is behind us. I'm not buying it. More to come, I think, just in different ways. Just going to have to watch it for a while. What else is going on today? FBI searched Biden's former office last year after his lawyers found classified documents. Sources say, according to, again, mainstream media, the FBI searched the Penn Biden Center in November. This happened after President Joe Biden's lawyers reported finding classified documents at a former office he used there. According to 3 sources. Now, it's not clear if the FBI discovered any additional documents during the search, which was done in coordination with Biden's lawyers and occurred after Page disclosed the National Archives. Classified documents were found at his old office on November 2nd, sources said. According to one source, the FBI checked the center to make sure all Biden-related documents were retrieved. The White House Justice Department and FBI declined to comment. So I am getting this information from several different mainstream media sites, including ABC television. Again, it's just my opinion. I think all this stuff is just noise. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. It's about optics, making it look like the justice system is doing something that these lettered agencies are busy holding politicians accountable, when in fact they're beyond reach. There's nothing that can happen to them. Not the president. Not Joe Biden. This is all window dressing, folks. That's my opinion. That is not based on anything other than my observations, what I've seen over time. Just my observations, my opinion. What else do we have happening here today? We're going to flip things around here a bit today because we have our guest joining us later in the broadcast. We're going to go to the phones in a minute. And you guys can engage in whatever conversations you want to this evening before we get to Derek Smith. Happy to talk about anything you want this evening. Let's do that now. I'm going to take a brief break and then we're going to open up the phone lines. You guys can weigh in on any news that you would like, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about it. Don't go away. More ahead right after this.
We are Mavericks. We say no to the Trudeau and Biden New World Order. And to bugs. Because bugs are creepy and gross. And people not eat bugs. Maverick News. The world is watching. Fear not the storm. For truth is on our side. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, we're ready to rock and roll with the phone lines. So here's the number to call.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975-FREE. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
Okay, so the phone lines are open. And as I say, the show's kind of inverted this evening. Normally we go to the phones near the end of the show. But tonight we're going to do it the other way around. And I'll put a banner up here with the phone number on it for you so you know what number to call. And that number is 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975-FREE. And you can join the conversation tonight. And let's talk about whatever's on your mind. You get to pick the topic right here on this free speech platform. Go ahead.
Woo-wee, Ricky! You got the moment of the day without a plan, master all disasters coming to you live from work.
Hey.
Get into headlines today. Windsor is the future home of EV manufacturing, but the numbers show many in Ontario can't afford them, period.
Yeah,
What do you think of that, Rick?
Well, I would say that it shows it's a planned economy, and it's not reflective of what the people want or what they can afford or what the market is dictating. Even with all government subsidies at every level of production, you end up with a vehicle that most people can't afford to buy. And the the well-heeled, the well-off, they don't give a damn about those in the middle class or the lower middle class who can't afford these vehicles. And I think as this rolls out over the next number of years, people will find that they simply won't be able to afford to drive, because the used EV market, I think, will be even less attractive to people, because I think the life expectancy or the lifespan of these electric vehicles will be much shorter than gasoline powered vehicles. I could go on and on. What do you think, Leo?
Here's the government's position on it. They think by 2026, 1/5 of all vehicle sales will be electric. That's a pretty big number, if you ask me, for a lot of people that don't have the money. So
yeah, they can get to the 20, I think they can get to about 20%, because there are people out there who do have the money. Those will be the people. It'll be those, champagne socialists, the well-heeled Laurentian crowd. They'll buy them. And
well,
but the rest of us, the other 80%, screw us.
Yeah, exactly. Screw us in all ways, right? With the high interest rates now, and they keep driving going up, right? So
yeah.
The higher the interest rate, the chance of a new vehicle affordability is going to be next to nil for a lot of people, right? So,
yeah,
like I said, I could buy a brand new truck today for $65,000. That sounds great, but 7.2% interest, that's the going rate. I'm going to pay $25,000 in interest on that vehicle. It's going to bring me near $100,000 for that vehicle by the time I'm done paying for it. What's the value worth after it's done? After I'm done paying for it, not worth $100,000.
No, not even close.
It's a bad investment.
I saw you know what? I saw a thing yesterday about a Tesla that caught fire, and it took how many thousands of gallons of water to put it out? 6,000 gallons? I don't remember. Hang on, see if I can find it here.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, here. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Oh man. I'm gonna have to search.
Well, thank God thank God I live in the Great Lakes sector.
Yeah.
We got lots of water to waste.
Yeah, they've taken it off the main portion of the website. I saw it on Autoblog yesterday, and it was out west in California someplace. But I've seen that before. There was another one that I saw. I had to dig a pit. The fire department, I don't remember what city, it was San Diego maybe. They had to dig a pit, fill it with water, and then they had to pick up the Tesla with a crane and then drop it in the pit full of water to extinguish the blaze.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's 600 gallons is more than most pools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess they're going to have a fire truck that's going to be like a tank, a swimming tank. And when there's a Tesla on fire, they're just going to bring the boom, dump it in the tank, call it a day, go to the next Tesla, do the same thing, right?
Yeah, here it
That's
is.
water that'll never be used again.
Yeah, it was on a bunch of different news channels. I've got it here right now. Here it is here. I'll just put the picture up for you so you can see it. I wasn't wrong. I got the number right. It's 1,000 gallons of water. There it is. This was, what city was this in? Sacramento. 6,000 gallons of water to extinguish that fire. Is that
a video?
Let's see if they have video. I know the fire department put out the images. See what we have here. It's on Twitter, so I'll bring that up for you to see it. I think they're just still images. Yeah, just stills.
I hear Trudeau's going to be starring in the next movie.
Oh.
With Alec Baldwin. Yeah. With Alec Baldwin.
What? Tell me about.
He's going to be his front man. we only win. You could be on the next set of Rust or Must.
Yeah.
We'll call it Must. Also, bigger news is BC. I put out a post yesterday, public announcement that all the hardcore drug addicts in Windsor should go to BC because it's legal now to possess 2.5 grams of crystal meth, crack cocaine, powder cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl. Woo-wee, Ricky Bobby.
Oh, boy.
Clean up the street, Windsor and Chatham and everywhere else. Send them all to BC. I feel sorry for my friends in BC. Honestly do. Because you're going to have a wave of junkies like you've never seen before. Sort of like Amsterdam, but they kept Amsterdam clean, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work out. Downtown east side of Vancouver, the DPEs, I feel sorry they're overwhelmed now. They're going to be very overwhelmed in the next year. The writing's on the wall, right? Now, why would you want to possess or do drugs in Ontario when it's legal and you'll go to jail for it when you can do it legally in BC? Makes no sense.
Man.
So there's going to be a mass exodus of the junkies headed that route. I can see it now.
Yeah, I can't say I'm in favor of any of that.
I'm not in favor of it either.
No.
It's a no-win situation. You know, you got the people that are saying, "Oh, harm reduction. That's not. They need a cleaner supply." Do you think by legalizing it that there's going to be a cleaner supply? No, people are just going to go when you're at that level. Drug addiction, you're just going to go to where it is the cheapest, and you're not going to care, right? So, I got friends that are fire department work on the fire department EMS part of it.
Yeah,
and they're constantly going these overdose calls, and they'll use the Noxil, and that's what they use. Okay, on the person that's ODing, and when it comes out of it, they want to fight. They want to fight because they think that the fireman just ruined their high, so they want to fight the fireman and the ambulance drivers, right? Because they were in a like no one could ever explain, I guess, right? I don't ever want to go down that road. I'm glad I'm 53 here in April, and that shit was never on the table for me when I was a kid, right? So there's no dabbling, but your kids aware, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do. You know, awareness and you know, show them. I took my kids on vacation to BC, and I took them down. I rented a nice BMW, and I took them down to Hastings, and I showed them, you want to do drugs? This is where it's going to take you. People living in cardboard boxes, little tents. So you're telling you the streets packed, Rick. If you've never seen it before, it's a sad sight to see. Right? Maine and Hastings, people call it pain in Hastings, but it's awareness for people. You want to do drugs? You want to do drugs where it's going to take you. You want to live? I'll tell you, you don't. Just look at the people here, right? So, pretty sad. With all that being said, there's your two nice headlines of the day from the mouth of the South, Rick. Get on your next caller. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you, Leo. Appreciate the call. Take care. Okay, let's talk to, I'm not sure who this is. Is it Bill?
Yes, it is. How are you, Rick?
Fine.
Haven't talked to you since a year, I guess.
Is that right? Well,
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger for so long. Glad to have you back.
Yeah, I was listening to your broadcast of yesterday, and I was just in awe. I also listened to the lady that I guess you could call her a whistleblower, and I was surprised that the girl that cued her in worked for Rebel News. Now, I know the owner of Rebel News not very well, but I had met him when I was a member of the Reform Party. And I'm wondering if Ezra Levant was one of the people that was involved in the organization of this. I noticed that he was absent during the rally and the freedom and all that.
Actually,
I
he
was
did.
kind of hoping.
As I recall, he did at one point show up in Ottawa, and he stood up on.
Did he
Oh
really?
yeah, and he actually spoke to the crowd at one point. I remember. Yeah, he was there.
Okay, I
But
wasn't there. Although
I would not go down that path. That's entirely speculation. I hope that people don't get the wrong
I
idea
don't
from
want
what I
to.
showed
That's
last night. I don't think we should be focusing too much on the list of names on that chart. You know, anybody can put a name on a chart. For me, it was, you know, I only really made two assertions, which was that it exists, and I drew attention to the date that she received
exactly.
it. And those
No,
were the
I
important
didn't
ones.
want to. I didn't want to believe that. I just wanted to clarify it for myself that a man of Ezra's integrity would not be involved in a thing like that, because I have very high regard for him.
Yeah.
So I guess I was just talking over with you just to more or less reaffirm my my high regard for Ezra.
Yeah.
Because to my knowledge, he's a pretty fine man.
Yeah,
and he has the interests of heart.
I would tend to agree with that. I think that they do really good work over there at Rebel News. Yeah, a lot of respect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's all that was on my mind tonight, Rick. I hope you have a good show, and I hope you don't have to listen to any more of these ridiculous attacks, because you don't deserve it. You've been bringing the truth to us for quite a while.
Well, thank you.
And I, for one, appreciate.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you very much,
we'll
Rick.
keep digging into stuff over here. We'll keep doing that as needed.
And I'll keep watching.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick.
You take care.
night
Don't
now.
be a stranger. Call back sooner.
I will. I
Okay,
will.
all
I'll do it again.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Rick.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, we're going to take a brief break. And then when we come back, we can still go to the phones, but, you know, Cindy Williams passed away.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cindy Williams.
From Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days and American Graffiti.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So I interviewed her
Yeah.
years ago. And
Yeah.
so what a lovely lady. And I'm gonna run that old interview when we come back. But thank you, Bill. You have a great night. All right. So let's take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll bring you that interview with Cindy Williams from years ago. So long ago, I hardly even remember the year, but I have it queued up. Stay with me.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, so here's an old like me, getting old. An old interview with Cindy Williams. Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. Wow, American Graffiti. I met Cindy Williams at the Steve Plunkett Country Cruise In Car Show, London, Ontario. What a great guy Steve is. He for quite a few years put on one of the best, if not the best, car shows in all of Canada at his estate. He every year would bring in celebrities, most of them related to, you know, automotive things, retro culture, 50s, 60s, you know. And the caliber of cars that he would have on display that people would bring from all over North America, just stellar. And fantastic venue, his estate. He has a golf course behind his house, and he makes it available to different groups through the year. Car clubs has in the past, There's a big dog show that he puts on there too. And the Fleetwood Country Cruise and Car Show has raised so much money for charities over the years. It was he stopped doing it just before the pandemic hit. Almost the timing, I guess, was right in that regard, but I guess he felt that it had sort of run its course. Maybe someday he'll bring it back. A lot of people miss it. Great event, great for the community. So many good people contributed to it. Service clubs. It really was about community. And in a way, it was a reflection. That car show was a reflection, I think, of the best, I think, of what even Canada had been, where people came together, celebrated pop culture, just came out for a good time and raised money for good causes, all kinds of different things in the community every year, and celebrated everything that had come before. Not to say that the country has ever been perfect. That's certainly not the case. But it is good to focus sometimes on the positive things, right? Well, what's more positive than Cindy Williams? I mean, she was a ray of sunshine. That lady. Just accommodating. When I met her at the event, every year he would have the celebrities in behind his house in sort of a fenced-in area, and I would get invited back there because of my automotive show to meet these folks and interview those who would agree to do it. And she was just so warm and welcoming and just friendly. Just a really super nice lady. So I was really saddened to hear that she passed away. Here's the interview. I'm embarrassed to show it to you. It's from over 10 years ago. And boy, I don't know. I just look so stupid. Well, I hate looking at myself, man. And I hate listening to myself. But here it is. I'm going to run it for you anyway, because I just have so much respect for her. And I don't even remember everything we talked about that day. A little bit about the car show, but I think you'll feel the warmth as I play this for you. Hi, friends. Welcome back to SST. Time to head to the Steve Plunkett Country Cruising in London, Ontario, home of the biggest outdoor car show in Canada. That's where I hooked up with Cindy Williams of American Graffiti and Happy Days fame. Let's head there now and find out what Cindy is up to these days. So, Cindy, welcome to Canada again.
Thank you, Rick, again.
And we're at the Steve Plunkett Country Cruising in London, Ontario, and it's a huge show. And I mean, you're here for the American Graffiti reunion. What does it mean to you?
Well, first of all, it's so much fun to be here, and it's just always great to be representing American Graffiti with all these beautiful cars, and each one of them is a little work of art. And always happy to be among my friends and fellow cast members. And this is just a especially wonderful event.
And what was it about American Graffiti that, I guess, acted as a catalyst for everything that came after it? Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, the whole retro movement.
Well, actually, Happy Days, the pilot, had been shot before American Graffiti, but I think Paramount had held it back. And then because of the success of American Graffiti, they said, come on, bring it out. but it's just a happy time. I think Gary Marshall put it best, happy days. And American Graffiti just represented a rite of passage that is universal and everybody can identify with. And the music was so fabulous and it was so mirthful. And it just was very comfort. It was like comfort food, but brilliant comfort food.
And even though it's set in a particular era, it really is timeless because you're quite right. It is sort of a rite of passage movie, and everybody sort of goes through that. That's right. And everybody enjoys. There's a character in it for everybody. There's a song in it for everybody. And it's beautifully shot. And the cars and the hijinks and everything that goes on in it, it's just a feel-good movie. I know that John Bon Jovi runs it on a loop when he records. And it's just got huge fans, great fan base still to this day, and just a wonderful cast and wonderful direction by George Lucas, and just a wonderful, wonderful movie. And it really has done a lot for your career, and you have done a lot since then. What are you doing these days? Well, these days I'm doing a lot of stage work. I did Drowsy Chaperone on Broadway a little while back, and I just finished doing Steel Magnolias at the Manitoba Theatre Center in Winnipeg. And I have one last question for you, because when I used to watch Laverne and Shirley, you guys always did that thing at the beginning, and I could never figure out the words. Shamil, Shamazel, what is that? You Canadians cannot pronounce this for your lives. Shlumil, Schlamazel, and what that is, and they had to teach it to me the first day. It was a little ditty that Penny did on the way to school, elementary school. She'd walk and they'd count out their steps to school. And so it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Shlumil, Schlamazel, Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated. And a Shlumil is someone, this is how it was taught to me, who jumps off a building, and the Schlamazel is the one the Shlemiel falls on. So, Can you follow that, Rick? A Shlemiel jumps off a building, and a Schlemazel gets hit by the Shlemiel. Well, I'll keep looking up then to make sure that nobody's jumping off any buildings. No Shlemiels or Schlemazels around here today. That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Really, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. They were happier days. They really were. Sure like to have those back. Cindy Williams. 75 years old. Thank you.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I was looking at my garbage can today. Got me thinking. Got me thinking about all the people out there who want to change the world. Some people even want to take over. I was looking at my garbage can. I know, it sounds weird, right? But it's all about the garbage can. When it comes right down to it, it's about the garbage can. What do I mean? once a week, they come around and they pick up my garbage. Happens like clockwork, pretty much, except on holiday weeks, weekend weeks. It's a little different then. And then on another day, they come and get the recycling. And I thought, they kind of got it figured out. Actually, around here, they outsource it in our city to a private company because they can do it more efficiently than the government can do it itself. So they contract it out to a private firm, and they put out a request for 10, it's a competition. And then they enter into a contract, and the company has to come and pick up the garbage, but ultimately it's our tax dollars that pay for it. So I thought, there are people out there in different countries and even here in Canada who would like to either get elected to take over the government. There's some people who'd like to maybe even take over the government in other ways. And the people who have power, they have a lot of responsibility, They provide a lot of different services. And the people who want power, they focus on all the really negative stuff, all the stuff that is wrong. I remember even, doesn't matter what election you're looking at or what politician or what revolutionary or, when in history, the people who want power, they just criticize. They criticize. And they focus on the bad stuff. And the people who are in power, the longer they're in power, the more baggage they have to carry because of all the mistakes they make over time. And they're responsible for all of the bad things that they've done, plus all the bad stuff that's ever come before in history. It all gets kind of, applied to them, and it sticks. And the more that sticks to them over time, the less popular they become. And then you get change eventually. And so the politicians, the other people who want to go to crazy lengths to even take over the government or whatever, you know who I'm talking about. We're hearing from them all the time. And the people who want to retain power, Justin Trudeau, Rob Ford, Joe Biden, whoever's in power right now, they make every excuse they can. They blame the problems on somebody else. It's Putin's war. Inflation is Putin's fault. It's a game. It's a game. Vaccines, masks, lockdowns, LGBTQ plus rights, plastic straws, paper straws. Save the whales, climate change, sustainable development goals, Agenda 2030, 15-minute cities. Do I get to drive a gasoline-powered car? They're going to jam an electric one down my throat. How much is my electricity going to cost? What's the cost of diesel fuel? I remember just a few weeks ago, people were going into this show and they were saying, Tucker Carlson says there won't be any diesel fuel left in 2 weeks. And I like Tucker Carlson. And I said, probably not. That's probably an exaggeration. You're going to see an increase in the price of diesel fuel, but there's still going to be diesel fuel. And there is still diesel fuel. That was the one thing, and he's pretty accurate about most things. That one thing, I did sort of, but that's the way the media is. Media is always about crying wolf. I know. I came from that environment where I was in constant resistance against it. It's going to snow tomorrow. It's the worst snowstorm ever since the last one. Always the worst. the worst drought, the hottest summer, the coldest winter, the driest summer, the wettest summer, the biggest flood in 100 years. Always. Always the biggest, the smallest, the est. It's always an est. And it's always directed at government one way or another. Well, for those of you who would like to take over the government, I have a message. I have a message. After you've finished taking over, here's what I'm going to need. And this is what everybody's going to want, just letting you know, okay? They're going to want health care. They're going to want to show up at the hospital, at the emergency department, and they're not going to have, they're going to hopefully not have to wait like 16 hours in the waiting room to get a broken arm fixed. They're going to want that. They're going to want something better than that. When they go in for, major surgery, they're probably not going to want to have to sleep in the hallway on a stretcher. They're going to want a bed. They're going to want clean drinking water that won't kill them. I'd like that too, please. The list of demands will go on and on. When the neighbor's dog is barking too loud, make sure your phone number is published because we're going to want to call you. And you're going to have to do something about that because it's really annoying when my neighbor's dog barks in the middle of the night, all night. So get it together. Now, if you've overthrown the government and you're in charge, please bring in some sort of system with a law that will stop my neighbor's dog from barking. And if it does bark, I'd like the SOB thrown in jail, please, or something. Just shut the damn dog up. How about that? I want my roads paved. I prefer not to have potholes in them. Some other people will want other things. I'm a pretty simple guy. But a lot of people, when they lose their jobs, they're going to want free money. You can call it whatever you want: employment insurance, unemployment insurance, welfare, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of people are going to want that because they've become used to it. And if they don't get it, they're not going to be too happy. Can't have too much inflation, so you better know how to run the economy. Wars, not real popular. So if we could stay out of wars, I think most people would be happier. But if you're going to fight them, well, I guess you better ramp up your propaganda machines to convince people that it's worthwhile. Education. Everybody wants a free education. Now, free daycare too, probably. So I hope you're prepared to provide that. Free daycare, free kindergarten, free elementary, free high school. And a lot of people would like free college and university and would like to be able to continue to go to college and university until they just feel like they've had enough. So whatever you can do in that regard, thanks. Plus, there was a liberal politician in this province who was promising free snow tires, before the last election. Didn't get that, but man, I'll tell you, if you could get me free snow tires and all of my neighbors and friends and other people in the country free snow tires, you'd probably be pretty popular that way too. Personally, I'd rather keep my tax money and be responsible for my own, but I know a lot of people would like the free snow tires. I want to check that out. So yeah, after you're done overthrowing the government or winning the next election or doing whatever the heck you think you have to do to get power because it's so attractive to you, A lot of people are going to want a lot of things, but you know what? I'm a pretty easy guy to get along with. If you could just please make sure my damn garbage is picked up once a week so that there's no interruption in service, even during the insurrection or the election or whatever the heck happens during the transitionary period there, I'd really appreciate it. Recycling too, once a week, please. Garbage, recycling. You do that, we're golden. Okay? Just saying. Thanks. That's my message.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching. Fighting the Great Reset by leading the Great Resistance. Maverick News. The antivirus programs for your mind.
Sorry about that. A little bit of a computer glitch. We're going back to the phones now. Here's the number to call.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975. Free. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, I'm back and we're ready to go back to the phones. And here's Dave. Hello, how are you tonight?
Hello, is that you, Rick?
It's me.
Oh, sorry, I might have had the wrong number. No,
No, you're here.
I'm
That's
just
good.
kidding. I really didn't have a lot of reason to call in tonight, other than the fact that I was looking at the wonderful shirt you had on, and then when you did the interview with our girl Shirley,
Oh, yes.
you had back in the day. You still had great shirts. I said before, you must be the shirt guy.
No, there's somebody has better shirts than me. Maxime Bernier.
I don't know. Maybe what's his name down in Michigan there? What the hell was his name? That the rock star, some rock star.
Kid Rock?
No, no, he's cool too.
Yeah.
No, the old guy that stands up for guns.
Ted Nugent?
Shit. That's him, Ted Nugent. He had great shirts.
Yeah.
But no, you took me back when you showed that video with her,
Yeah.
you doing the interview with her. That was beautiful, and it takes us all back to better days. And life's not going to ever be like that again. And I just want to say, I think you and I come up at the best time ever, and we're fortunate to have that, because there's a lot of people in this world are not going to have those kind of memories.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure.
So,
the 50s,
that's
the
all I
60s,
wanted
the
to say.
70s, the 80s. I mean, it was the
golden.
best. Yeah, golden. So much
Baby
freedom.
boomers.
Yeah.
Baby boomers. We were spoiled in our own way. It wasn't easy, but it was beautiful.
Yeah. It really
now
was.
that we're old and we can look back and reflect on it, it's never going to be that good again. I don't believe, anyway.
I remember
Not with technology.
at that car show, Steve Plunkett, the gentleman who hosted it every year, in the last year, he said to me, he said, Rick, I think our best days are behind us. And I could tell.
Absolutely.
And at that time, it was like it really hit home. I felt that too. It was the end of something at that moment.
Well,
and it was true.
I share that with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I share that we had the best music. We had the best cars. We had the best era.
Yeah.
We had the best of everything. We were very fortunate. Even my mother, she passed away 5 or 6 years ago. And even she said, we came up at the best time. And she had 25 years on me.
Yeah.
She said, because after the Second World War, everything opened up and it became prosperous and it became real. It became truthful. And we got to live in that era. And we were very, very fortunate. And we came up with all the best TV shows. It didn't get any better than that. Laverne and Shirley, Happy Days. I watched Gunsmoke. I used to stand there in front of the television, the black and white TV, and, I would draw a gun. My parents would laugh because on Gunsmoke, he'd pull his gun out.
Yeah.
The rifleman, like all that stuff. These kids today don't have nothing. And I feel for them.
Yeah, I still watch Bonanza on YouTube. Right?
Yeah, and what about that? Like, little Joe and Oscar, right? They were the best.
And you can see, the times were different, the language was different. Some people will say, "Oh, Bonanza is a racist show," but in reality, even a show like Bonanza was cutting edge when it came to cutting through things like racism.
Yeah.
And there was always a moral to the story, right?
Yeah.
To help guide people. It was a golden age.
You bet. And that's something you and I share. We're in that same age group with the baby boomers. And I don't think anybody's going to have that kind of opportunity again to enjoy life the way we did. And the beautiful part of it all is we're still alive and we can look back and reflect. And that's why your show is popular, because you see the world from a different perspective than a lot of these younger people do. And some can relate to it, some can't, some wish they could. They all want the same thing. They want freedom and everything. We didn't have to fight for it when we were young. It was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we
That's
were
why
very fortunate.
that is why I just take exception to the people who say it's so broken, you can't repair it. You can't fix this. And I think to myself, it wasn't so long ago when
Yeah.
we did have it. I mean, you could feel it. Now, it wasn't perfect, and not everybody, was able to participate to the level that they should have been able to participate in, depending on what walk of
Mhm.
life they came from. But we were fixing those things along the way, and I think we
Yep.
kind of almost got there. And if we,
Yep.
but then everything just
Then,
went.
and that's from a foreign thing. This is not grassroots we're dealing with. This is not our local government. It's coming from afar, and it's unfortunate. And that's where the people have to look: is where's it coming from? I mean, we know these politicians are just they're bought and paid for. They're just puppets, and they're not where the problem is stemming from. They are just in our way. They're the ones that we see on the TV or we see in public, and it's just unfortunate. People we're disillusioned. We've been fooled, and especially Canadians. I think Canada was the easiest country to take over of all of them because we're all just so naive and hey, we go along with anything,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. They took advantage of our good nature.
I think actually part of it too is our generation was so spoiled, so insulated that so many people just lost touch with the reality of
Yeah.
the whole world, right?
Yeah.
And took for granted what we have had
Yeah.
here.
Exactly. No, you wouldn't believe how many times over the years I've told people I'm so grateful. I felt like Beaver Cleaver. I felt like I was grassroots Beaver Cleaver. That's, we weren't rich. We just came up right, and that's all I can say.
Yep. There were problems, but not like we have now.
Not at all. I don't know if I know you guys are from southwestern Ontario, but where I lived, I was raised in Toronto, born and raised in Toronto, and before the Don Valley Parkway went in and all the big buildings and everything, the Don Valley was my playground. I swam in the Don River when I was a child, and they said, don't go there. It's all contaminated and everything, but I didn't die.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And, the Great Lakes, I remember as a kid going down to Lake Erie and, you could see crap in the water and it was actually, you could see the pollution in the water back in the 70s, right?
I think Lake Erie was one of the worst.
Yeah. But it's actually cleaner today than it was then. So much is actually being done to make things better. And yet people have it in their heads that things keep getting worse and worse and worse. It's not true. We keep on making things better. It's just people tend to focus on the negative, and we're not being told the truth in that regard.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. You can't. And you're talking about valuing your garbage pickup. My wife and I sit here and say, "What day is it?" Oh, it's garbage day tomorrow. That's our big highlight of the week.
That's right.
I got to get the garbage packed up and get it out there because the guy's coming. My dog even looks out the window waiting for the guy to come and grab the garbage. It's crazy.
The point is,
but anyway, I just wanted to share
that. The point is, whoever gets power, that's what you have to do. Once you get power, you got to pick up our garbage.
I know that's where you're coming from, but they don't understand it. They're going to overtake this government, and then what are they going to do? We're going to be screwed because they won't even have a clue how to deal with looking after shit.
I don't really care about all the other crap. Just make sure the garbage is picked up, okay? So we don't get mice and rats in the neighborhood. Just do that.
Yeah, okay? I hear you.
And
Sounds good, Rick. Anyway, keep up the good work, and I'll get talking. I'm just glad we could share some memories and share a whole generation together.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, you take care, buddy.
You too,
On
sir.
to your next caller.
Okay. And here's
Bye-bye.
John. Hello, John.
Liberty, Rick, liberty. Hey, would you wear a Freedom T-shirt? I got an idea.
Yeah.
Huh?
Probably.
You should pick out a few that you like, post them on here, and see what the chat thinks. We'll all chip in and buy you them. You get free Freedom shirts. I'll chip in. I'll send you dough. But you gotta make sure the ones that you like, though. You know,
you guys keep talking about, we need to get T-shirts here, Maverick T-shirts, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And then I never find the time.
Shirts.
And it's just,
it's got to be a Maverick Freedom shirt. It's got to say Freedom on it.
Okay.
Freedom.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Maybe with some trucks on it too, Rick.
It hasn't been my priority to get the T-shirts done, but if people keep asking for them, I guess we can do some.
Put some trucks on it, Rick. I want trucks.
You want trucks? Okay.
Freedom, and I want Freedom on it.
You want Freedom and you want trucks.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't take much to make you happy. So
well,
we can work on that.
Well, I want you to see you wear them too, though. That's the thing.
If we do get T-shirts, it's been
everybody runs down your clothes. Wear a Freedom shirt.
Okay.
Or wear a Metallica shirt or something, or AC/DC shirt.
Okay, but if I get accusations of grifting because we have shirts for sale or something here, then I'm going to blame it on you. Okay, I'm going to tell them it was all your idea. I'm going to say, John's idea.
Freedom over unity. Yes, Jake Kilbunda cover. Freedom over unity.
Yes.
No unity. I don't want to see unity on it. I won't buy it. I'm sorry. but I will follow the unity, and I'd like to go there. I wouldn't mind going there and checking it out. It's going to be a big bash, man. I think there's going to be millions of people, millions and millions and millions and millions. Yeah. And no cops. I hate cops. I hate cops.
Well, that'll be the place for you to go then. There you go.
Yeah, pushing you around. Get off the grass. Go over there. Get off the grass. Go stand over there somewhere. Go give them the finger and he arrests you, handcuffs you.
You don't.
I don't want to see cops.
You don't hate cops. You don't hate cops.
Hey, man.
Come on.
I hate cops. I hate cops.
You do not.
I do. I do.
You don't.
Well, hey, I like cops, but I would never get involved with a cop because they turn on you. They'll drag you into the mud with them. I'm telling you.
Turn on
you. Do not get them.
Okay.
It happened to me 3 times already. And
what?
Once a friend of mine, son died, and I knew how he died. He was hanging around this bar, and they were buying pills, oxys and stuff.
Yeah. And
I told the cop, I'll tell you something, but I didn't say nothing. Okay? That bar, he was buying pills there, and that's how he died. There's people, and you know what? Cop goes in there, flashes the kid's picture. He goes, anybody? No, and he mentioned my name. And somebody from the bar said, John, they mentioned your name, man. The cops mentioned your name. You're dead, man. Don't come around here, man. You'll be ended. Don't come here. This is the cops. Another time, same thing. They tried to drag me into court because I seen something, and I said, okay, I'll tell you. They tried to, and even after telling them, I don't want to get involved. No, you won't be involved. Okay, I don't even trust that number online, the anonymous number.
Crime
you know,
Stoppers?
they give you 50 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even trust that. They'll drag you into the mud. They'll give you the money. Oh, you don't get the money unless you come to court and testify. Don't say nothing, people. I'm telling you, you'll find out yourself. No drinking for me. I'm not drinking. Anyhow. Yeah, so Leo, red peppers, green peppers, no frills on Thursday. They're on sale. I'm going to go stock up on them. I like my green peppers and red peppers. Leo, you hear that? And Teslas. You know, I've been driving on the highway because I do a lot of driving for work and stuff and job sites. I've never seen so many electric cars on the highways. It's crazy how many I see. Like every fourth car is electric now.
No.
Notice that, Rick?
No, not every
There's a lot.
fourth car.
Really?
Really?
Well, most are Teslas. Okay, not every fourth. Not every fourth. I'm probably getting exaggerated there. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of electric cars. I've never seen so many in my life.
Well, that's
And,
because they keep
you know, I'm
selling
driving
more
on the
and more.
highway.
They keep, they're building more, so you're going to see more. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot, especially Teslas, man. Everybody, and they're all yuppies.
Yeah.
I look at the driver. I speed up to check out who's driving it. They're all yuppies.
Yuppies.
What a yeah.
Isn't that more of like an 80s,
Oh, yeah.
90s term? I think you're showing your age. I don't think we have
Yeah.
yuppies anymore. Yuppies. Young
Oh,
urban
they're
professionals.
yuppies. Well, there's a new name for the yuppies now. They're called millenniums or whatever, right?
Millennials. I think that.
Yeah,
I think that's a couple generations back too, John.
Okay.
Then you had Generation X. Then you had Generation Y. I don't know what the hell they have. Millennials were people at the turn of the century, right? That was around
the happy days.
That was around 2000. Millennials,
Yeah.
right? The people born in 2000. So I guess they've sort of come of age, but we're in 2023 now. So I don't know what the hell they call people like that now. If anybody knows, put it in the chat. Generation
Y.
Generation Z. Z. What do you do when you get to Generation Z and they're done? You have to go back to Generation A? Recycle the alphabet? I don't know.
I call them yuppies. Wannabes.
Yuppie wannabes.
Yuppie wannabes.
You're, like me, you're stuck in the 80s, man. The 80s and the 90s.
It's like a guy riding a Harley. It looks like a biker, and he's just a wannabe.
Yeah.
You know, you got the Fonz there. See the Fonz today? Oh my God! Wow, from a cool-looking dude to a
Henry Winkler.
Yeah, you see him today? Oh my God, doesn't look nothing like the Fonz anymore.
Well, that's because he's
not as cool
old.
either.
He's old.
Yeah.
I met him. I met Henry Winkler once. Yep. I met Henry Winkler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool guy to meet. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've met quite a few people, I guess, and you're like, look at you back then. You haven't aged that much, Rick. To be honest with you.
Well, I feel like I've aged a lot.
Not really.
I feel like I've aged quite a bit. There he is.
Judging from that video, you haven't.
You know, he's actually a fine actor, Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
A really fine actor.
I still like him.
Yeah.
I still like him. Yeah, I like the guy.
Yeah.
And then the car show is going to have a big muscle car section this year, eh? So.
Which one? The Canadian International Auto Show?
Yeah, the one on Front Street there. Yeah.
On Front. Yeah, the one that's coming up this month.
That's right. Yeah. They're going to have a big section of muscle cars.
Yep. So they usually have an area like that, and then they also have the Cobble Beach Concours d'Elegance. They have their classics come in. They always have some of the stellar cars in there with a lot of history.
I used to be in muscle cars. In my younger days. Mustangs I liked and Camaros.
Yeah.
But today you can't afford it. The parts are so expensive, man. So I don't think, back then you could buy a Hemi and thrush mufflers like cheap. Today, good luck, eh? Costing you Hey, last night I called in. That map that you put up?
Yeah, the chart.
Yeah, can you put that up again? I got the site, but it's gone now. It disappeared.
Oh man!
I just want to give you my 2 cents on it. I don't know.
Just
if you
go ahead
want
and give us the 2 cents. Like I've got this. I can give you a wide shot of it. I don't have the link here in front of me at the moment.
Yeah, okay. To me, when you put that up, yes, I'm not disputing you, but that girl was good that you had on there. Yeah. See, it looks like a mess. Looks like a horror story. Looks like a little kid drew all these wiggly lines. Look at that, like a little kid just scribbled, eh?
No, it was done. It was done with software.
Yeah, but it looks like a kid scribbled.
Okay.
It looks like a mess, man. It's just but there's a lot of groups in there. You're like that girl was right yesterday. There's a lot of groups in there.
Yes.
And I don't think it's all about money. Someone
Wait. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
You know what? You just said something.
What?
When I say something, people hold me accountable. When I say something, people will accuse me of lying. They'll accuse me of making stuff up or not being accurate.
I'm not accusing you of lying.
I'm not saying you, but here's the thing. I have to be careful about what I say. And then I also, by extension, become somewhat responsible for the things that people on this show say. Now, you just said something. It's all about the money. And I suppose based on what she was saying last night, there's certainly that element to it, right? That wasn't really the point behind showing that chart last night, though. So all I'm saying is anybody calling up here to talk about any of this stuff should be very careful about any claims that you make, any accusations that you make, anything that you say, because what you say can and will be used against you by the court of public opinion. Trust me, they're holding me accountable. And I was very careful about anything that I said about that stupid chart yesterday. And it set off a firestorm. And I only ever made...
Looks like a mess.
I focused on 2 things, right? That it exists, and I focused on the date that it was sent to the source who called into the show. And then I was able
that was a good call.
I was able to deduct certain things from that information based on what was in the chart. But it's not so much what the names are on the chart. The people are focusing on the names. Oh my God, who's on it? It's not entirely, that's not the point. Anyway, we'll get into it more maybe another night. But just...
But Rick,
yeah.
Some groups, it's all about the money. It's not like she said, not everybody's about the money. There's group, and same with the convoy in Ottawa.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine seen me watching this thing like religiously, hour by hour till 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "This is what's going on." He goes, "It's all about the money. This thing's. Don't you see what's going on here?"
Yeah, well, that's certainly a big aspect of what's been going on in the freedom movement. There's that whole layer of grifting, people making money off people, right? That's definitely going on. It certainly is there. That has not been my focus in the stuff that I've been covering, but there is that element to it, and people need to be aware of it. Tamara certainly drew attention to it last night and the things that she was talking about, and it is important that people should be aware.
Not everybody is about the money. It's certain groups, And do you blame them? you can make a buck off it. Why not? Like selling T-shirts. I don't care. If you want to buy a T-shirt, you pay for it. Like I don't care about buying a T-shirt or buying a flag or something. Hey, if you like it, you buy it. I got no problem with that. But for donating money to us, we need it for this. Like she said, lawyers and gas and stuff. I understand that, but you know how much money they raised? There's more than enough for what they wanted to. Who gets the rest of the money? This person said, King, Lynch, wherever, Tamara, they're getting rich off this. And you don't see it?
No.
And I said, nah.
No.
Oh, yeah, they're getting rich off this. Don't trust them. Don't donate any money to them. I'm telling you right now. Like,
well, you wait. You back it up. Back it up again. You just made an accusation. You said that Pat King and Tamara Lich get rich off
I didn't make it. Someone else did.
Well, you just repeated it, so you're pushing that.
Okay.
So, are you prepared to prove that?
Well, I have to talk to them about it.
Oh, yeah, better back it up there, John. It's one thing, any accusations that people make like that, you better be prepared to back it up. And if you're not gonna be able to back it up, then you better retract.
Well,
I try to deal in facts as much as I can. Right?
The money wants to go.
If it becomes my opinion, I state that it's my opinion. And it's important to be accurate without exception doing something like this. And so I can't just let something like that slide.
Look at all that money. Look at all that money. Who wants it? The residents. The residents want it. The government wants it.
They all want it. They all want to get their hands on it.
Ottawa want it.
Follow the money. There's that huge.
All the money. Well, don't you see? It's corruption.
Yeah.
When it comes to money, it's corruption.
There is. I'm glad that you're focusing on that. Yeah, there's certainly that.
This thing in Winnipeg. Look at Pat King account is still frozen. That's hearsay, but you could be right. Look at this Winnipeg. You know how much money is going to be generated from there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like you got that Roy Clark guy going, oh, we don't want no money. We just want enough for to have trucks there for storage and washroom toilets and people start donating it's going to pile up. Like, where's the rest of the money going to go? But anyhow, to me, I don't give a shit. If they can make a buck, go for it. I don't have a problem with someone making money. But it's true. Same with Ron Clark. He said this Emergency Act hearing coming out in February. Yeah. Guess who's looking after it all?
What
Pierre Trudeau's. You know the result of this hearing, the Emergency Act, coming out in February.
Yeah.
Guess who's reviewing it all? Pierre Trudeau's sister or relative. I didn't catch the whole thing. I have to go back and watch the interview again.
No.
You're
getting it. You're taking half the information, twisting it upside down, and then plopping it on top and getting it wrong. What they're saying that Justice Paul Rouleau, is related to Justin Trudeau's sister-in-law or something.
He's related to Justin Trudeau's.
I believe it's his sister-in-law. I think it's something like that.
That's probably what it is. Yeah, that's what it was.
That in itself, I mean, it's not like she's not involved in the process, though. She's not reviewing anything. She's not even involved. They're just connecting him to her and saying, see, he's corrupt.
Somebody wants me gone here. He says, next caller. Thanks, John.
Maybe I better let you go, Rick.
Okay, see ya. Ciao,
Hey,
pal.
Yeah, nice talking to you. Nice
Okay.
talking to you.
All right,
Bye.
see ya. Oh my God. Jeremy, save me.
Good evening.
How are you? Help me.
Pretty good. So, like I said, I kind of understand how you feel these days,
Yeah.
but I'm also learning, so it's really hard to understand exactly what to make of the recent developments, I guess you could say, right?
Mhm.
But I think when you're talking about the garbage and stuff,
Yeah.
I think you're talking about taxation with representation. So I think what you're saying is to the new unity global leaders of Canada.
I'm saying this to all of them, whether they, I'm saying it to Maxime Bernier, Pierre Poilievre. I'm saying it to everybody that wants to get elected to local council. I'm saying it to the guy who wants to be the dog
Right.
catcher. I'm saying it to all of you. Okay. At the end of the day,
Right. So
you get elected, you're really just there to serve the public. Pick up the damn garbage.
right.
That's it.
Yeah, taxation with representation. So
Right.
if we have taxation without representation, I think Rick is going to be unhappy, right?
I would be displeased. Yes.
I would be too, right?
Yep.
But I mean, that's the spirit of 1776. Is
more than that, though, Jeremy.
taxation.
What I'm really saying is, I'm really talking to the people, all of the viewers, all of Canada and the United States, the world. I'm telling people the world over. This is my message. Be careful what you ask for. It might be worse. Be careful who you support. Make sure they're going to pick up your damn garbage. That's the question. They'll sit there and they'll complain. These people that want you to follow them, they'll tell you that everything under the sun is wrong and that the people that need to be replaced are worse than Hitler. And you need to follow me and I'm going to fix everything. But nobody ever asks them what the damn plan is. They just get this in their head that all they have to do is get rid of the guys that are in there and everything will be great. No, you better make sure that the guy that you put in there is committed to picking up your garbage. Because if he isn't,
I agree.
You're screwed. Pick up the damn garbage because that's really what it's about. Are you hearing
a functional democratic system where life is not completely reduced to a third world, right? But I see where you're coming from.
And I've seen
a lot of
it
people
election
get
after election
distracted.
after election. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
Promises, promises, promises. Then a government is elected. They get into power, or even at the municipal level, they get in there and then they have to face the reality. They've made all these promises to people, and then they have to face the reality that, oh, you know what? We have to pick up the garbage on Tuesdays. How are we going to do that? And then they have to deal with the budget and the RFQs and the process and make sure that the trucks have fuel in them and that the fleet of vehicles is replaced and how are you going to get the logistics taken care of? And they ultimately go back to the system that's in place. And that's what the system is, man. It's like, do the trucks roll out on time and do they get the garbage picked up? Okay. Beyond that, have at it. But just make sure the damn garbage is picked up and make sure the people that you follow, once they're installed and in power at whatever level of government, just make sure they're committed to picking up the damn garbage. Then we'll be okay.
So this is why I usually make fun of them, because it's a joke. I know there's intelligent people behind the scenes in some cases, but in a lot of cases, you just have people trying to get internet clout or whatever, like they're not competent people. They get a big following and then they say all the right things to keep people invested in their channels.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, I don't follow anybody on any of these people. I've touched base with the channel sometimes, but I don't learn from them. I don't follow them. I don't, like, it actually, and something to be pretty clear about is, like Ezra Levant is probably one of the most influential people in my life.
Mhm.
I've learned a lot from him for a fair amount of years now. So I just wanted to say, like, I'm not really sure exactly what she was saying. The caller, Tamara, I think you said.
Yeah.
Her name was. Anyway, so if somebody was attached to Rebel News, just for people, in the chat or people listening, so just because one person might be up to no good does not mean the entire organization is.
I think it's unfortunate that
Right.
Tamara actually brought that up because it detracts from the focus of what we were talking
Yeah.
about last night, and just
Right.
went off on
I agree.
down this other side road, and people are now talking about
Right.
that as well, and people get confused. That's why I chose one piece of information
You're
last night to share with folks, and I tried to show that piece of information to make a single point to begin the process of telling a story. And then all this other stuff came up as
I just
well.
wanted to say that. So
Yeah.
just to back up reality.
Yeah.
Because, bad people exist. Good people exist.
And that was
sometimes bad people.
Yeah, and that was
get
also
into
her saying that, Jeremy, I didn't really explore it with her, but that was a piece of information that she threw out there. There was really no other information around that to provide a foundation of credibility to it. It was just something that was thrown out. And I didn't get into it because I didn't want to, again, detract from the focus of what we were talking about, which was that chart. And for me,
So the chart, Rick.
Yeah.
I think the chart is a blueprint, and I think it's a demonstration of a pre-existing intent to in some kind of coordinated. I mean, that's my speculation, but to me, it seems very much like a blueprint, and I think it's a projection of an objective, and that's what I make of it. But,
it was
you know what I mean? It's very suspicious.
Whoever put that together had knowledge of what was to come, either because they were told what was going to happen and who was going to be involved, or they planned it themselves or a part of the planning process and knew who was going to be involved well in advance of it actually happening. Now, why is that important? It's important because we were told that it wasn't really much of a planned event, not to that level, that it really kind of sprang up spontaneously, virtually overnight, and that all these trucks and all these people came from across the country. Now, clearly there was some planning. We know that, but it wasn't supposed to have happened until, almost immediately beforehand. And yet here we are, about 6 weeks out, and somebody knew all the people that were going to be there. Maybe even before the people who came knew themselves. Who knows? We don't know, but somebody knew and put that chart together.
This is like a whole new level of where we're at in this current age.
Right.
And that level of advanced knowledge is not something to just dismiss as not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty critical piece of information. People should really take a step back and question the purpose of that document and how something like that could exist in the form it did, and in the time that it did. These are things that I question myself, and because I've fought with what is reality in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah.
And because I have a kid and I'm trying to keep my kid informed on who's lying to him. and what to look out for when it comes to adults in his life that may want to take advantage of him, right? Or mislead him to gain control of him. You know?
And here, AMC Kingdom, you go stuff it, okay? I'm not going to pin anything because there's your stupid link again. I posted it last night and I'm posting it again now right in the chat. So you pin it, okay? I'm sick of it. You people come on here and you level these accusations and tell me to pin it. Take that and pin it to your fucking forehead. How about that? All right. Go check it out for yourself. You don't like it? Don't look at it. Don't want to hear what I have to say? Go watch somebody else. That's just, there's the link. Pin it. You pin it.
Right.
Trolls.
You know, they're bad things are going to happen to these people because they're so ignorant. And, you know, people perish without knowledge. And that's why it's important to try to at least try to like be reasonable and be objective and be willing to accept things that make you uncomfortable.
And Sean,
so
yes, you better. You know, we do need to be civil. He says, Rick, you tell us to be civil. Yeah, but you know what? You push me far enough. You push me far enough.
Welcome to the jungle, baby.
Okay.
Hey, you can have anything you want, but you better not take it from me. How about there's some lyrics for you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing is, you know what? I'm in my 30s, but I'm largely influenced by the late 60s and to the early 80s music. I grew up with a lot of that. So, you know, like, I don't put up with any of this new age bullshit either. I've actually coined these types of people to be the progressive, regressive brat community. And that applies to all the people that are in the way of human, innovation and you're just in our way. Like that's where I'm at. Like the progressive mentality is holding us back from our human potential. And it pisses me off because I like being free. I like having opportunity. I enjoy genuine people that aren't trying to trick me into shit all the time. And I have no patience for it anymore either.
You know what, Jeremy? I don't even understand why these people are, you know, so hot to trot on me. All I've done is show you a document. I made reference to the time that we know that it was created before, and I've stated why it's in conflict with the narrative that we've been fed about the convoy, and now that's all I've said. I never attached it to any people. I never accused anybody of anything specifically. All I did was show people a piece of evidence. So what are people so afraid of? What is it that is so objectionable to me showing you a document? What's the issue?
This is how you know you're dealing with tyrants, right? So tyrants suppress anything that might harm their agenda, right? You know, they suppress anything that may derail their objectives. What tyrants do. It's, you know,
all day today, I've been getting people sending me stuff about that stupid document, trying to debunk it. And you know, it's not true. And she's just making it up. And, you know, and it's all these accusations. And I have yet, even with the videos and all the other stuff that people have sent to me, I have yet to have any piece of information flow back to me to debunk anything that I said. And I really only made 2 claims: that it exists and that I saw the timestamp that it was sent to that person. And so I was able to deduct from that information alone what I was able to deduct. Now, it came from this guy and this guy made it. And no. And this guy said this about it. And he says that she's a liar and she made it. No evidence of that. In fact, quite the contrary. So keep on trying. And if someone can show me something that, you know, is contradictory to the two things that I just pointed out, I'm totally open to it. Go ahead and dismantle the foundation of, okay, it exists. It's right there. There's the link. Go ahead, take a look. Sorry, I'm just showing you a document.
Yeah, I don't think you have a reason to give people fake information. I mean, at this point, like I've said, I've followed you for like almost a year now, and there's no reason for you to just go off the beaten trail here and start. I mean, like, it's just not a realistic. It's just not realistic at this point. I mean, that's the other side of things. Is like, what is realistic and what is not. And people, I mean, like, I don't know, a long time ago, I told you comprehension skills. Like, man, people just seem to really have them. And you really got to work hard to be fair with information. You can't just believe whatever you want to believe because you just want to believe it. I mean, facts are, it's a matter of facts in a series of events, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Because, you know what, it pisses me off too, because, I mean, I listen to all kinds of live streams and watch live streams, and I was caught up in it just like most people. And it's kind of a real, you know, it's unfortunate that we have to deal with this, but it's life, and we just have to deal with it.
Sean, you know what, Sean? I just shared the link again. What do you want? There's the document. Go look for yourself. Until then, what are you afraid of, Sean?
Yeah.
He says, if your document and that phony phone pic were shown in court, they would laugh you out of it. Yeah, that was a graphic representation with blurred out information to protect the source at the time, who called into the show and revealed herself, actually. So, you know, it's not like I made up the conversation with that person either. And it's on her phone. So when the time comes to go to court, should that ever happen for whatever reason, and I don't know why that would happen, but if it should ever happen, there's a record of it. So you can call me a liar if you want to, but sir, you're out of line. So stuff it.
So that's hard evidence, what you said. So if you have a piece of hard evidence connected to circumstantial evidence, I mean, that's what builds a case. And that's what strengthens your case is your, you know, hard evidence that you do have with the circumstantial evidence all around it. And that builds a spider web of, you know, a case in which case you can point to with a probability of intent.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of dismissing hard evidence. People can not believe it, but I mean, it's just like the morons where you tell them that masks don't work, and they're like, "Oh, there's studies that say they work." I'm like, except the studies that say those studies aren't true.
Yeah.
Like there's studies, so you believe what you want, but you don't have. I mean, you're not. The consequences of ignoring reality are going to come whether you believe it or not. So reality is in real time happening right now. And whether people believe it's real or not, the consequences are going to come to your front door, whether you believe it or not. So if Rick is telling the truth, then it will, it'll develop and it'll become reality. And if he's lying, then I mean, obviously nothing really comes of it.
If
right?
I was lying, the link wouldn't
Don't keep your panties in a bunch. Exactly.
It wouldn't be there. It's there right now. Go look.
And just another thing I wanted to touch on, because, you know, I'm busy with my kid a week at a time. So, like, and I hear people, call in, and, a gentleman that I have respect for, Mark Friesen, I support the guy in a lot of ways, but, he's really jumped the gun calling in here and accusing you of things that aren't realistic. He didn't take the time to really understand, and he didn't put in a lot of time to be educated on what you're talking about. So when it comes to, like, I just don't see it, I'm just not experiencing this stuff personally, that's not evidence that it doesn't exist.
Precisely.
So if somebody is testifying to you that something is true because, it's like, that's testimony, that's evidence, that's permissible, admissible, I guess the word is, in the court of law, is a witness testimony. So if a person is testifying that something is true, that's evidence. That's the whole entire 2020 election in the States, with Rudy Giuliani having thousands of affidavits and testimony of all kinds of things. I don't know what I can say, what I can't say about that, so I'm not going to get into that. But witnesses are a real thing. And when a person, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, unless they have a history of lying, which is based on evidence. So it's not fair to just call in here and accuse someone of lying. That's why people get blocked, because Rick doesn't want to put up with your shit because he isn't lying. So you call him a liar, he says, you can fuck right off now. That's slander is what that is.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got to get back to work, but
Thank you. Okay,
keep
my
on
man.
keeping on, and all the less fortunate people with an unwillingness to be open-minded. We're here for you when you're ready to come around.
That's right. Thank you.
So cheers to all the good people.
Take care, my friend. You have a great
all the
night.
shitty people. Whatever.
Okay.
You too. Bye.
Take care. Okay. Is this Steve?
Yeah, Rick.
Hey,
It's no handle, Steve.
How you doing?
Not too bad. I have a couple questions for you about that chart you threw up last night.
Sure.
I was thinking when I saw it, I thought, oh, great, this is going to fill in something that was a missing piece for me.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it was, but I think it was something you said a week ago, had me start looking into something again. Back at the time of the convoy, there was a woman doing some deep dives into the leaders of the convoy once large amounts of money started getting talked about.
Sure.
And she was uncovering some really interesting things. And then afterwards, I heard an interview, and I wished I knew more about where the date of this interview and who conducted the interview. But I'm pretty sure it was with Tamara. It was with one of the main leaders of the convoy, where they had said that, well, I'm almost 100% it was Tamara Lich. She had said that they were going to do the convoy a couple of months earlier, and she had been put in touch with a couple of other people, and she named them. And so last night when you started talking about this, I got thinking, well, maybe that's how that chart could have been created if somebody else was in contact with that group at the time and had a suspicion or tried to get it up and going then and didn't. But I just thought that was interesting because I think it was like she said she had started talking to Pat in November, and she had already known BJ from something that they were involved in Manitoba before that.
Right.
So there was a few things there. And then later I got thinking, well, how do we know that whatever this entity is that created that chart that you have,
yep,
how do we know that person, that group, whatever it was, knew that the convoy was going to happen or tried to push to have the convoy? How do we know it's even related? Maybe they were going around collecting
Because there's
all
a
the
set,
people.
the whole section on the right hand side is labeled Convoy 2020, and then it has all the people, all the main players listed.
Okay.
That's why.
Well, yeah, no, I get the names are all there and everything.
Oh yeah, all the names are there.
Sorry?
All of them, right there. See that long list on the bottom right hand side? That's Convoy 2020, and those are all the main people, all the way down.
Right. Okay.
And it's all accurate. I mean, look,
Yeah,
whoever
on
put this
mine,
together,
I can't
there's
make-
not even a spelling mistake, and there are hyperlinks to websites.
Okay, I'm not challenging you, Rick. I was just wondering. I was going to say, did I miss something, or did I forget something from last night?
Yeah.
And on mine, I can't blow it up large enough to read any of it. It's just
Well,
it
if
just
you
comes
go to
out
the
as a
link, if
blur.
you go to the link that I posted in the chat, it's still online.
Yeah.
You
When
can
I tried
click
it,
on it and open.
it didn't
It's
open.
on Coggle, and it opens up. It's open to the public right now. That's the thing. It's like, and
Okay,
then there was
asking
another
the question,
live streamer.
I wasn't challenged.
Yeah. But somebody sent me a video and they said, well, a bunch of people sent me things. So-and-so created it. He says he did it. No, it wasn't him. Somebody else made a video and said that it's a lie and that she's lying. And it's not accurate. And I went and I watched the video. No evidence presented, just accusations that this Tamara is lying about it. And that's just an accusation. So no evidence to undermine the credibility of, well, it exists. There's just no evidence there. It's just more opinion and accusations thrown around to cast doubt, whether intentional or other. I don't know that that's the intent of the person who made the video that was sent to me, but you can go look at the stupid document. And then I compared the screenshots that were from that date presented to me by Tamara, and it's the same. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. So it's not like somebody went online and edited the document either. It's still the same today as it was December 7th, 2021. And that's extremely detailed. So somebody had a damn crystal ball. Now, why is that important?
Well, I'm not.
Maybe we'll dig into that in future episodes or not. We'll see. I'm just saying, you better start asking some questions about some of this stuff, folks, because things just don't add up.
Right. Well, I wasn't trying to challenge anything. I was just, like I was saying, I was already on to wondering about some stuff that predated this. And like I said, I thought maybe this was the missing link for what I was kind of working on. But I don't want to throw an accusation as to what I think may have precipitated some of this.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't put it all together. And like I said, I couldn't blow this up enough to read it. And when I tried the link, I don't know, I got bounced out. And anyway, I'm not a computer guy at all, so I just didn't even really pay much more attention to it. But I did think it was interesting. Okay, well, look, I didn't mean to upset you, Rick.
No, I'm not upset with you at all, man. I am just a little bit frustrated because people are getting focused on other aspects of it, and I think that is part of the problem. It's like, well, who's on the list? Well, I want to know the names, as though it's like an accusation or incriminating evidence for the people on. No, not at all. There's none of that. Then Tamara called in, and she kind of got focused on, it was important information that was useful to people as well, talking about grifting and other problems within the freedom movement. People need to be aware of that as well. And she does have absolutely firsthand, accurate knowledge, firsthand experience, having been there, involved at an administrative level with a number of these freedom groups. So she knows some of the problems that are there. And, I've been sort of, touching on that a little bit. That hasn't been the focus of what I've been covering here. I think there's a larger story, but people certainly need to be aware of the grifting that's happening and the corruption within the freedom movement as a whole, as it relates to all of these different groups. And some of them maybe are more philanthropic and virtuous than others, and more genuine. But people have to make their own assessments in that regard. And there were no specific accusations leveled at any specific people, and certainly not by me. She made her claims; those are her claims, and she can, handle those. I didn't make specific claims against certain people. I wasn't there. That's her account, and I do I do accept testimony or interview evidence, if you will, from people who were there if it's a firsthand account. And it is, in her case, exactly that. It's not like somebody told me something happened or I saw a video online, therefore that's evident. No, she was there and says she experienced XYZ firsthand. That's evidence in court. So I will accept it here as well. Now, so other people may have other evidence to debunk that or dispute that. That's not definitive evidence, but it is evidence. Take it for what
I'm
it's
just
worth.
now, right. Now that you say that, I wonder, maybe Tamara would know, and maybe you already asked her, as to did any of, well, actually, you kind of answered this last night now that I think about it, about whether or not some of these people did know each other. Like Tamara, I'm positive she mentioned that Pat, because that's how she got the, he organized the, I want to say pace car, but the, shit, what do we call those?
No question.
lead trucks and
Some of
whatnot.
these people knew each other in advance. Of course they did. And that whole network, that, you know, the freedom fighting network or the freedom movement, those organizations, they had all been coming together beforehand. All that stuff, no question, those people sort of knew each other. But that freedom convoy section, that whole section down that one side, no. A lot of those people would not have known each other beforehand. I spoke to some of them and I said, when did you first meet this person? Or when did you become aware and become involved? And in some cases, we're only talking a week before, 2 weeks before, maybe three.
No,
Because it was for them
it's almost
supposed to
like
be
somebody,
spontaneous, but somebody knew they were going to be there.
yeah, it's almost like somebody rounded them up, cultured this right out of a petri dish and shaped it the way they wanted to.
Now I think maybe you're getting on the right track.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, your show was kind of interesting, and like I said, I thought maybe it was going to answer some questions that I had lingering from something else, but it doesn't. And the person or persons that I was thinking about weren't on that list at all. I didn't hear you say them at all. But whatever. Hey, going back
that's
to,
the other thing. Some people are conspicuous because of their absence on that list.
Yes, exactly.
Raises more questions for me, like, why isn't so-and-so on there? Why isn't this other person on there?
Yeah, like somebody who was talking about it well in advance about rounding up some people to go to Ottawa and was known for it. That's just not there. Yeah, that is suspicious because it wasn't, if it was like a government entity coming up with that and they were, scouring the earth.
I'm not prepared to, like, that's where everybody keeps going, right? Because this is a part of it. There's this default denial that people keep falling back on. It's like anytime there's anything that might be uncomfortable or might go against their grain or their reality or what they believe, they immediately, if there's anything bad that they're seeing within the freedom movement, they automatically default to, government plant, must be a cop. Always some stupid excuse.
Okay, well,
no, you better keep your bloody mind open to everything. Maybe it is the government. Maybe it is a government plant. Maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it's a problem within the freedom movement itself. And we should all keep our minds open to that, because if we don't, the cancer will continue to spread. Now, I'm not making any assertion in that regard with regard to that chart or or information that might come after as a result of this. I'm just saying everybody should keep a bloody open mind. If you're not willing to keep an open mind, then you're not awake at all, are you?
Right. Yeah, sorry. I was just using that as an example because my theory is not that it's the government, like as you might think of, what's in Ottawa. But I do think what I was suspicious of was a political entity in particular last night and the relationship that it has with the names that were thrown out by this person a year ago, actually almost, it'd be about 48 weeks ago. They were onto it quick. Yeah. And anyway, I don't have all the answers. And like I said, I won't throw out any names because like you were saying earlier, we're responsible for some of that stuff and I don't want it coming back to haunt you or me.
Right.
So
I'm not accusing
but I do have, if I ever actually, let you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate
Sorry I
the
missed
call.
that.
We're going to drop off the calls because our special featured guest is arriving. So let's pull out of this and pull out of that. Click all these buttons. And what we'll do is we'll take a quick break so I can get this set up, and we'll be back with Derek Smith right after this.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We're back, and joining us live is Derek Smith. Let me just.
How you doing, Rick?
I'm okay, sir. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me back on the show. It's great to see you again.
It's good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. It's a privilege.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if, for those of you, I'm sure everybody knows anyway, but Derek is an author. You've had a couple of big books, How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom. And what was the other one?
One face, two face, black face, blue face.
Right. And now another new book.
Yeah.
Tell us what you've got available now.
So back in September, I really wanted to do something in line for the anniversary of the Freedom Convoy. And I had approached a friend of mine, Tamara Lich, about doing something that was representative of the convoy, but because her face was commonly used as the face of the convoy when it was portrayed in media and different kind of articles, because we're so limited to space in our books, I approached her about using her likeness and her name to write an inspirational story about the Freedom Convoy and everything it did for Canada. So we decided to roll with a book called Hold the Line, The Ballad of Tamara Lich, which just launched last night.
And I see that it's already listed on Amazon as a bestseller in its category.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long these days, and people are really happy with it so far, and I'm glad to hear it. So,
yeah. So what's the storyline here in this book?
So essentially the story just falls along the lines of kind of what we touched on in How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom, but in a more directed story towards the convoy itself. It shows the lockdowns happening and Tamara essentially forming the convoy, going to Ottawa. It follows her arrest, her reincarceration in jail. And then I guess technically where things went afterwards. We don't really touch on the POEC very much or things like that, but we get a little bit into where things kind of end off in a lighter tone than where we might be at now.
Yeah. So you obviously spoke to Tamara extensively about her experience to write the thing.
Not necessarily. So because of her bail conditions, we just asked for the likeness of her name and image.
Okay.
I didn't want to take too much fact because again, she's restrained on talking about Convoy or having anything to do with anything Convoy related unless she's in the presence of legal. So it was just more a permission stance. And again, we typically make our books parody and kind of a fictional universe with these characters. So we kind of wanted to just do our own thing. I have always said that I felt that regardless of the politics that surround the convoy, I know on other shows, things like organizers or much on your show yesterday and things that are being discussed around on YouTube these days. I keep that separate from myself because what I look at is the fundamental goal of the Freedom Convoy and what it achieved for provinces that I live in, like Alberta, where mask mandates were dropped shortly thereafter. I know what a difference that made for my children. And I've always said that it's not just the convoy, but all of the truckers, the protesters, everyone who went to Ottawa, who did their part, have accumulated this insurmountable debt, an unpayable debt for what they did for all Canadians, whether you're on the left side of the spectrum, the right side of the spectrum. I wanted to do something that paid a tribute to that. And like I said, we kind of shuffled around, my illustrator and I, how to do that, and just kind of came to the conclusion that if we could use Tamara's likeness, it would be a lot easier to project that into, again, the limited space that we run with a book.
Yeah, because the convoy did accomplish a lot. The freedom protest up there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not just the truckers, but the farmers and the thousands of ordinary Canadians who just decided to show up and lend their support and speak out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about the artwork again. Was it the same artist that you used this time?
Yes, I'm exclusive to Kaide. We partner together to do this because we have such a good working relationship, and I like to keep things consistent in our books. So there was no question in my mind when it came time to do another book, and this will be our last political book into the foray for a little while. We've planned to do a few books later on in the future, but we're going to take our time with those ones. We've discussed doing books, kind of maybe 2 a year, 3 if we're lucky. But we kind of put our foot in our mouths with this one because we were working on One Face, Two Face when we had the idea of doing one for the convoy. So it was kind of crunch time for us. And I think we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we're going to move into something outside of politics after this. And I'll just drop a little hint that I think we're going to get into addressing the grooming situation with children in our next book and trying to get outside of politics. So we're still gonna poke the bear at people, and we'll come back to politics when we see a need for it. But this will be our last entry into anything convoy related or government related for a while, I think.
Right. Yeah. So the book is available on Amazon. Any other place, or are you still just focusing on that?
Still exclusively on Amazon. There are works going through right now that we're trying to get the books put into hardcover through a publisher. And again, it's a matter of the people that we're discussing in these books. A lot of people don't want to go near them. So for the time being, unfortunately, it's strictly with Amazon.
Yeah. Are they making a difference to your books,
Well,
you think?
I mean, people tell me they're happy with them, and I think that's the biggest difference that we wanted to make with them was give people something. I know personally, like anytime I walked into like a Chapters Indigo with my kids, and I say the kids section, even though these books aren't written for children. If I've gone into the kids section and I see the content that is given to children these days, and the kind of the woke books that sit around in stores, that we wanted to do something different, and we wanted to offer people something different. And people have told me that that's made a difference to them. So at the end of the day, I think we've done our job, and we'll continue to do our job in that realm. And like I said, we don't mind poking the bear. So it's only going to go up from here, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, these look like they're books for kids, but you've seen the demographics, and
Yes.
It's not just for kids, is it?
No, well, typically they're not for children. I mean, I've had people come up to me that are, you know, fans of the work, and they've said, you know, I read the first book to my children and they like it. And, you know, I've seen a post online where somebody said it's in their local library and things like that, and a picture of a kid holding it. I mean, if people want to read those books to their kids, that's fine. I typically, while my children look at my books because it's what I do for a living, and they're interested. We've always stressed in this house, and I've said it multiple times when we've sat down, I definitely do not force politics onto my children or bring them in, because not only are they too young, but I want them to understand politics on their own and figure out where they stand in the political system. And I think, I would hope most parents, if they're reading these books to their children, would do the same.
Yeah. Will this help get people through the results of or the recommendations that come out of the Emergencies Act inquiry?
That's that's a bit of a smoking gun. I mean, it's I'm not really sure what I'm going to think about those results, because let's be honest, I've got a huge issue with the fact that the people who are being questioned about the Emergency Act are getting the report several weeks before anyone else, including legal. It makes me question, when you see the things that go on behind the curtain up to this, and the scandals and everything else, I sometimes wonder, are we going to get a fair result? Because at the end of the day, I mean, if you ask the typical Canadian, was this, you know, worthy of being invoked? The answer is no. And I've seen people who stand on the side of the spectrum where they're against the convoy, say that there was no need for the Emergency Act. So it's not just a one-side argument. I don't feel that it was necessary regardless of the matter. But at the end of the day, will this get people through that? I don't know. If it does, I hope so. But it certainly was more written as a tribute versus a way of coping, so to speak.
Yeah. Sorry, my phone is going off. I'm just turning it off here.
That's okay.
Yeah. So just hit today, already a bestseller. How many copies of the other books did you sell? You sold a lot.
We've sold a few. I don't want to get into too many numbers. I mean, they've done okay, but this one we have high hopes for, and we'll see how it does. But they've been very successful in the typical realm when you look at not only just books but self-published independent books. They've done phenomenal, and we couldn't be more fortunate. And anybody who supports our projects, we're very grateful to, which is why every time we put out a book, we always try to find a charity or some designated area to send a portion of our proceeds towards, because we want to pay it forward for people enjoying our work. We want to make sure that we do right by the people who support our products and our content. So I'll be, excuse me, I'll be sitting down with my illustrator in the coming days and figuring out which charity we're going to this time, because we like to switch it up with each book. So I'll be making an announcement in a few days as to where we're putting those.
Yeah. I'm interested in, you mentioned that your next book might deal with a subject matter like grooming. And I
Yes.
guess that's because you're concerned about safety
Well,
and things like that, right?
when you see the kids being told to twerk at, the drag shows and things like that, it's concerning. It's alarming. And one thing we've been good at with our satirical work is poking fun at it while also bringing awareness to it. And I've been spitballing a few ideas around how to bring a lighthearted approach to it, much like our first book, while still addressing the issue. And I mean, let's be honest, when it comes to news, when it comes to any form of entertainment, nothing sells better than controversy. So we're happy to jump into that realm and see where we can go in our next project.
And yet, it's maybe fitting that we were talking about Cindy Williams from Happy Days, American Graffiti earlier tonight, and then we were reminiscing a little bit about, the before times and some of those retro years when things were maybe a little freer. And I think there's almost a retro element to the work that you're presenting here in these books, the subject matter, the writing style, which is sort of Dr. Seuss like, the artwork. It to me it has a throwback element to it.
Well, and that's part of what we try to instill in these books, and part of the reason that I have remained exclusive with Kaide as my illustrator. I think she gets the point of what I want to try to put across, that these books existed in a simpler time. Nowadays, when when in times where I've had other interviews or spoken to people and they talk about these books and say, why do you think these books have never existed prior to this? I think that there are some that do exist that maybe people just haven't stumbled upon. But I think a lot of it has to do with people that are worried about saying the wrong thing or being canceled by culture these days. The internet has changed how the world operates and how people kind of voice their opinions and project themselves. So we kind of wanted to go back to a simpler time and a simpler theme of reminding people that, do you remember when the world was different and, people could say things without being persecuted, without having to worry so much about tweets or Instagram posts? It's we like things being in a simpler method. And I think that's one thing that's actually pushed this brand to sell and get people interested and on board with it. And I hope it continues to.
And speaking of retro, every time we do these interviews, you have those video games behind you. Can you tell people, what that's all about?
Well, I mean, we built a home arcade for my kids during the lockdowns. It started out with a single machine that my children really enjoyed and started getting into. And these machines, like they're sold, they're not the full size of an arcade machine. I think they're 3/4 of the scale. But I mean, they're large enough for my kids, and they'll never experience what a retro style arcade is truly like. So the cool thing about these things is that when you buy them, you get to build them kind of like IKEA furniture. So during the lockdowns, it was always fun to pick up a new machine, build it with the kids, put it together, and then play it afterwards. So we've kind of assembled this home arcade, which I also have a hobby in this and a lot of nostalgia for it. And it's just kind of taken a shape of its own. So our media room / basement has now become a full on arcade, and my kids are happy, so therefore I am.
That's great. Derek, is there anything else you'd like to add or think that we might be missing tonight?
Well, as I said earlier, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for everything that you've been covering over the last little while, because I've been in the chat and I've seen the mixed reactions, I'll say, to some of the things that you're covering when it comes to the Unity convoy, as well as everything that's going on now with looking into organizers and whatnot. I think all media is fair, so long as we have the proof in the pudding. And I commend any journalist who's going to take the time to dig into those rabbit holes and see what they can find, because the truth is what the printed press and media was supposed to put out. And a lot of days you don't see that being projected when it comes to government funded media. I guess you could call it legacy media, which is part of the reason I stick to YouTube and I stick to people. So I just wanted to give a tip of the hat to you for what you've been dealing with, and commend you. I think what you're covering is fantastic, and I hope to see more. And I'll be watching from the wings, and I hope everybody else here does the same.
Thank you, Derek. I
Thank you, sir.
appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody, Derek Smith. Appreciate it. Take care,
Thank you.
Derek.
Take care.
Have a great night. And yeah, there's his book again. Hold the Line. And let's just bring that up. You know what? I'm going to bring up the Amazon for you again. And I'll put that link to the Amazon page into the chat for everybody. And then I'll add it to the social media descriptions as well, so that you guys know where to go. So there it is. It's available on Amazon. Hold the Line, The Ballad of Tamara Lich. Paperback. I think there's a digital download as well available. I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, the Kindle edition is there. $10 for the Kindle, $17.99 for the paperback. The actual book is nicer to have because of the artwork, in my opinion. And I know that the other books that Derek produced, I was seeing them at freedom rallies and different events through the summer. And it's not just kids, it's adults too who are buying these books and enjoying them. It's like political cartoons. And I think it's fantastic stuff, because I think that that kind of work does make a difference. It opens up conversations, and that's exactly what we need to have more of these days, I think, in order to get back to a better place. Stay with me. More to come right after this.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, I'm back, and we're going back to the phones. Here's the number again.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975. Free. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
One 833-975-3733. That's the number to call. And let's go straight to this caller. I don't know who this is. Hello.
Hello.
Hi there. Go ahead.
Hello.
You're on the
Hi.
air. Hi.
Yes. How are you doing? It's Lisa.
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to talk about this document. I know.
Can we talk about something else, please? No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Just one thing, okay? Just one. I promise.
It's all right.
Look up. I want you to look up something, okay? 6 degrees of separation.
Okay.
And I don't have you here because I'm okay. If you look that up and you go way to the bottom, and you'll see Facebook, and there's a paragraph in there. And I think this is going to bring it kind of all together, how the people are trying to say this isn't happening or this couldn't be or whatever. This absolutely could happen. Somebody could do this and put this together very easily before. And I'm thinking before, and this is how they can do it. Okay? They can extrapolate this information via Facebook and bring it into what the kind of graph that you have there.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm talking about there?
I see.
I don't know if
how would they know that all of these people are going to go and participate in the convoy?
I think by Facebook, okay, by Facebook and the platform. If you look at 6 degrees of separation.
6 degrees of separation means that, we're all connected to each other, like by basically 6 people.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you look it up on Wikipedia?
That's just so that you know people. It doesn't mean that they're going to do something. Like I can't predict. You and I are separated by 6 degrees of separation, right? But how do I know that like 6 weeks from now you're going to be at Walmart? Or how do I know that you're going to be at Pizza buying a pizza at 5 p.m.?
Well, that
I'm going to make a chart, and I'm going to have all the people who are going to be at Pizza buying a pizza at 5 p.m. And I'm going to put 50 people on there, and they're all going to be showing up Pizza at a specific time on a specific day. 6 weeks from now.
A specific time?
They don't even know.
Okay, but I'm just saying that it's a possibility that somebody can put this together, and this is how they would extrapolate the data.
The question is, how were they able to put it together? And the other question is then, why did they put it together? And if they put it together, were they just lucky, or did they put it together because they planned it and wanted and made it happen?
I think it was somebody that knew. I think it's somebody that knew about what was going clearly. And I think that and
some of these people didn't know each other until 10 days before, 14 days
what
before.
What if they were all on Facebook and they were all talking about, we should do a convoy, or we should, we should do something, and then this person extrapolates that information and says, look, all these people kind of decided that we're going to have some kind of a convoy, and then I don't know. I'm just trying to put it out there that this might be a way that
you're right. Got. Somebody did put it together.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm more interested in. I'm not even debating whether it's true, or I'm not even saying anything about whether you're lying or anything like that. I believe it. I'm just trying to find out how. how
good.
they did
Okay,
it.
so actually you
And
and I
then
are
when
kind
you
of on
find
the
out the
same
how they
page.
did it, then you're going to find out who might have done it.
Right. Right.
I
So
think.
you're actually,
Right?
you and I are kind of on the same page.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it
yeah.
can be done, of course. Like they obviously somebody knew who
Yeah.
the people were that they wanted, or like you see what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? It's not like
Yeah, and I'm just trying to figure out in my head, like you are, how did they get that? And I'm thinking maybe this is a possibility. I don't know if it's true or right, or if you could go down that path, or maybe some of your smarter viewers that are more tech savvy to go into, maybe, yeah, they could pull this out. They could know, that people were meeting before, and then I don't know, and then maybe just kind of assume that they were going to go there, and then they all kind of got together in the back end somehow.
right,
I don't know.
there are
I don't know.
a couple of ways this played out, right? It's like if we believe the story that we've been told, it's that just almost overnight, this whole thing sort of spontaneously happened. And then there was this effort to kind of organize things by some of the people involved who became road captains and all of these things. But it happened very quickly, very spontaneously. It was entirely organic. And then the thousands and thousands of people who came out, that was all organic. The whole thing was just organic. And that's why, it was what it was, and there were no organizers in the beginning. Just these people kind of got to Ottawa, and then they had to figure out who was going to be the organizers. And we've seen some infighting within the group saying, "Oh no, this person was the original organizer, and this person was the original organizer."
Yeah.
And but
Yeah.
to what level? We know that it was only supposed to be like a little bit over here, a little bit over there. No, this doesn't mesh with that story. Or the other option is, the other possibility is somebody pre-planned this thing from the beginning in depth with a lot, having all the people on the list that they knew were going to be there. How could that be?
Yeah, and that's my question is, how could they know how, and there are ways, like within the cyberspace, how to figure out how people could probably come to that conclusion, right?
It means that they were pinpointing people that they wanted to be involved, and they organized the whole thing, and then they encouraged them or got them to go, and bam, 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 they got them all the way down the line.
Or maybe they knew they were going. Like maybe they knew that somewhere they posted something, or they put something in Facebook that they were going to, this is a cool idea. I'm in on it.
Right.
And even if you didn't know, like you're saying that some of the people on that list didn't know each other, but through the 6 degrees of separation, they really did know each other. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Well, they didn't know each other. Like
I think
just because I'm 6 degrees separated from somebody doesn't mean I know them. It means that I'm maybe related to them or connected, but I don't know them. But
no, you don't know them, but they'll put it together in some kind of a map and some kind of
somebody connected all those people.
That graph.
Somebody put it all together, but that took a lot of work.
Exactly.
And then the question is,
and it's somebody
who did it?
Savvy. So
who
now
was
we've
doing
narrowed it
and
down.
why were they doing it? And how long in advance?
And you also.
Right.
But you also touched on another thing. There's a couple of people that aren't on that list that should have been on there.
Yeah.
Are they the very tech savvy people you might be thinking about? That's what I'm thinking, but I don't even want to put it out there.
I'm just going to let it percolate. I'm just going to let it percolate out there and let people think about
anyway,
that.
That was my 2 cents. The other funny thing I just want to say to you is, just on the other side, it's not even to do when you were talking about electric cars earlier.
Yep.
When the electric car elites break down in 27 minus degree weather, guess who's going to pick them up? People in their gas-powered cars.
Yeah. And
so that's what I wanted to say. Anyway, so that was fantastic. If you continue looking into that, I'm sure you'll get some other people on there. They're much more tech savvy than I, and be able to dig down on this. I know you're probably like, can we just get over this?
Hey, it's my own damn fault. I put it. I'm the guy who put it up on the screen, and then all this happened. And Joan Sharp says, "Sound like a
good
cop."
puzzle.
right? So I'm getting this
love
stuff.
a good puzzle, right?
I don't know who Joan is accusing of being a cop. It's either me or you. It's probably me.
Oh no.
Oh I guess I'm a cop now.
But I think it's just a matter of people make a good puzzle, and you've put something out there that's got people thinking. I got people saying, "Hey, like what's going on here? Maybe we can put our 2 cents in and see if we can come up and find out who we might think this might be." And I think you're coming close to it when you say there's a couple of people not on this list. That sounds tricky to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you have a good night, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. And no, Joan says sound
I'll
like a
call it
cop.
again.
Joan's back on the thing. Did I say that? She says, well, I read what you said, so I don't know. I don't know who you're referring to. I said it's either here or maybe somebody else. You can respond in the chat, and if I see it, I'll put it up on the screen for you, Joan, so you can clarify what it is you mean. Thank you for calling in.
Oh,
Let's
I was
move
going to
on.
ask you.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
okay. No, that's okay. I'll talk to you next time. Okay.
No,
I'll
go ahead
call
and
in
ask. Go
again.
ahead. Go ahead and ask.
Oh no, I was just going to quickly ask. I don't have for some reason my chats never come up when I chat. Like they don't come up on your screen.
What?
How come you're not getting the good chats? I always say good stuff.
I want you in there then if you're going to be giving good chats. Where are you watching? What channel?
I'm just watching it through YouTube.
YouTube? Well,
yeah.
it should
but
show
do you
up
have
in
to
here.
be signed into something?
Maybe.
Oh.
I don't know.
Maybe you have to be signed up as a member or
do you
something.
see the chats?
Yeah, I do.
And you can't post in
there? I see them on my phone when I chat.
Yeah.
But I don't see that you don't bring them up on the screen.
Well,
and I thought,
I don't bring up all of them on the screen because there are way too many. There are thousands a night. I can't put them all
but
up.
I always say good. You got to bring the good stuff up.
Yeah, I like to put the bad stuff up though, so that I can show people that I'm fair. Even it's like reading my hate mail.
Okay, well, I'll try to find some bad stuff to say about you. Okay.
Okay, then you'll get on for sure. Then.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Joan says,
Bye.
"Don't be twisting my words. Sorry for reading what you wrote." It was.
All right.
It sure piqued your interest. My comment, though, says Joan. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
It just goes on and on, doesn't it? It did. It piqued my interest, Joan. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the next caller.
All right. You take care now.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Who do we have on the line now?
It's me again.
You again?
Hey, that map, I got to figure it out.
Oh, John.
By the way.
John,
that,
no, you
that
don't.
thing?
No, you don't. I can tell you right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I'm telling you, I got to figure. You know what it's about?
What?
It's all lawyers. It's about like honking for freedom. Listen, all the light blue text. You click on it and it opens a link. You know that, eh?
I know that, John.
And it's links to all these lawyers and movements, Twitter, Facebook accounts.
I know.
Oh, you know that, eh?
I know that. You don't have it figured out.
Like,
go back, study some more.
The Line Canada.
Yeah, I know. I know, John.
Okay. No, I'm serious.
You're missing the point.
I got to figure it out.
I know it's not. You're missing the point. But you have a great night. Talk to you later, my friend. Okay, we got to move on. Whatever. Who do we have on the line now?
Hi, Rick. It's Dave again.
Hey.
I didn't mean to be like John again.
No, that's okay. You go ahead.
I was enjoying the fact that you and I took a little stroll down memory lane and talking about the good old days.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this came back. And John seems to know how it all happened. But when I was listening to the lady there saying, oh, how did this happen? And they knew this. I don't believe in crystal balls.
Yeah.
What had happened is something we forgot. we were talking about it the other night, saying, who did it and how did they put this master plan together? Artificial intelligence. These bastards been spying on everybody for longer than we know about. It's only be just coming out common knowledge now. They've been spying on everybody. They feed information into a computer, and boom, they got a graph like you showed the other day. They got that in seconds. With the technology they have, the question still is who and why. So it just threw me off. I was sitting there saying, oh, this lady's talking about, the graph you put up with all the names. And we were saying the other day, somebody went to a lot of trouble. That's a lot of work. Well, if you're smart enough to put a program together and you have total access to all the information, which the government does and the world does, I think the Chinese government does, we're all vulnerable. These people are spying on us constantly, gathering information. Now they want our fucking DNA. They want our blood. They want our life. It's bad enough they took all our money. Anyway,
yeah.
Artificial intelligence is how that thing was put together. People aren't even, they're not even smart enough. All they got to do is punch in some keys and come out with all this information. You do it every day. We all do our research. They are way, way ahead of us when it comes into research.
So
they
you're
got
telling
all
me
the
they just had a computer predict the future?
Do you not think they're doing that?
To a degree, but no,
it's absolutely possible with the technology they have. They are so far ahead of us. I know we're only how many weeks behind Britain. Well,
hang on a second. So 6 weeks beforehand, somebody went in a computer, used artificial intelligence to predict that there was going to be this massive convoy with all these people, and they all showed up.
Well, I don't think there's a person that's any more capable of it than artificial intelligence and the internet and all the data John was trying to say it. I think the girl said, Facebook. Well, Facebook's only a small part of it. They're listening to our my wife and I sit in the living room.
I think you're just overthinking it a bit. Just a bit, but we'll see. We'll see.
And you know what? I thought you might have saw that. I know there's people behind it. Obviously, artificial intelligence didn't do it all by themselves. Mm-hmm. There had to be a reason. There had to be some people behind it. And as I said the other day, I think there was a group of people. It wasn't one person that put that shit together. They've been collecting data. That's information is the gold of the world right now. And information is expensive. And they got the bucks. They got all our bucks and everybody else's. And they're putting it to use.
Yeah.
They have the intelligence. They have the technology. It's crazy. This goes way beyond. You amaze me every day, with the stuff you come up with. And I think, wow, Rick is really, gathering all this shit and seeing things. And I appreciate it and thank you for sharing it. But it kind of belittles me sometimes. I'm thinking, I am so far behind. I need to gather more information. But when I think about it, we can't compete with this artificial intelligence that's coming down the line.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think in this case, maybe a little bit off track. I think maybe just take the artificial intelligence.
Hey, I've been off track my whole life. I can live with that. I'm always a little off track.
Yeah.
But I know people that are totally derailed.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a bit off track. But I'm listening to people every day that they're a train wreck. You know,
Yeah,
fuck.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
All
Anyway,
right,
we're going to move
listen,
on.
I didn't want to come back on a second time. I don't do that. Most nights I have to say, don't go on, don't go on.
I
But anyway,
like it when
thanks
you call.
for.
I like it when you call. So please keep on calling.
Well, just remember the good old days, the happy days.
Yes, there you go.
Laverne and Shirley.
Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars.
Oh, now you're back in my time.
Yes,
Yeah.
Disco.
No, the 50s. I went to kindergarten in grade kindergarten. That's what it was. 1957. My mother took me to the school, and the kids looked tough, you know, and they were kindergartners. Why would they look so tough? They were my age, 5 years old. How did they look tough to me? But I remember I looked at these other boys and I thought, these guys look tough.
Yeah.
1957. But we came up with the good old days, and I was happy talking earlier and just reminiscing about, you know, the shows we had and the music and the cars and these bastards. They're not going to appreciate any of that when we're gone. Anyway, Rick, you have a good night.
Yeah,
Carry
you
on with
too.
your. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, here's Matt, I think. Is it Matt?
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Man, I'm surviving. I just wanted to drop a few bones and bombs on your network here.
Okay.
So, first of all, I just want to say, I don't know who made that list.
Mm-hmm.
None of us do.
Yep.
But I just want to throw a term out here. I'm sure you've heard the term predictive programming, just like the majority of your audience here. So I want to introduce people who some people might already know, but in the 90s, there was a Steve Jackson game. It's a card game. It's called the Illuminati card game. And if you go through some of the pictures, you can find that 9/11, the Boston bombing, and the truck convoy are there. So I just want to say that it's been something that was planned for a long time, and it was never grassroots to begin with.
When did that card game come out? Do you know?
Early to mid 90s. I'm not sure, but I could tell you that Agenda 21 was conceived in 92, the year of my birth.
So the Illuminati card game. And
yeah.
Holy crap, $2,000.
It's Steve Jackson Games that makes the product. So if you want to even just pull up a picture and write Illuminati card game truck convoy, it'll pop right up.
Oh, yeah? Okay, hang on.
So yeah, I'll just wait for that to appear on my screen there, and then we'll go from there, because there is something very distinct about the card in and of itself too.
Yeah, so here it is here. There's a news story about it in the Independent, the 1990s card game that predicted 9/11. Donald Trump, is that the game?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so I'm going to pull up the, there we go. I'm going to pull this up. Oops, hang on. I accidentally took you off. I went to the wrong tab.
That's okay.
Okay, here we go.
I can imagine you're bundled with a lot of information.
Oh, a lot of tabs open on the screen.
Story of my life.
Yeah, no kidding. There we go. The 1990s card game that predicted 9/11, Donald Trump, COVID, and the Capitol riot. So there's the terrorist thing in the story. Charismatic leader. Hillary Clinton. Epidemic, quarantine. Predicted that.
Yep.
That's pretty.
I don't know if the article will have the truck convoy in there, but I could tell you that that is one of them.
Yes, I'm just looking here. Yeah, just go back. There's thing. Here we go. Here, let me take a look at this. Yeah, this is a little bit weird. I have to admit, this is a
So
little
the
bit
thing
weird.
that I find really distinct is the guy in the yellow hat. He's wearing the sign. It says long haul, and I interpret this to be more than just simply the Ottawa event, because you have the United We Roll, and then you had the Ottawa event, which kind of inspired this sort of trucker movement, the fringe, all the catchphrases, the corporate catchphrases that go with the freedom movement. So, and then you have it in for the long haul because that truck convoy kind of aspect is what they're trying to spread into Winnipeg a little bit now.
Here's The Simpsons with Trudeau hiding from the truckers. Now, when was that produced? Do you know anything about that?
I do know this specific clip, but I don't know when that episode aired.
Yeah, I don't want to run it because of copyright issues, but
that's totally fair.
Pretty weird.
It is weird. So just a few other things I want to say, though, I guess, more or less. I want to talk a little bit about Wexit, because Tamara Lich was once affiliated with Wexit. And I think you remember me talking to you about a guy named Peter Downing, who was a guy that on the record was officially let go from the RCMP. And he was the former head of Wexit, and Tamara Lich kind of came in right after him.
Right.
So what happens is, at the time, Wexit was posting articles from Diane Francis, a known media person. I think that I can't remember who her husband is.
Conrad
but
Black.
She's
Conrad
yes,
Black.
that's correct. That's correct. And the name dropped from my brain. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Diane Francis is American, but she sits as well on the board of an American think tank in Washington. It's called the Atlantic Council, right? And it was, by the way, her articles that were largely shared by Wexit. And being that she sits on the board of the Atlantic Council, it's one of the think tanks that is largely funded by the Clintons and George Soros. So what I'm saying is that Diane Francis is very indirectly connected to Soros, and then by definition, being that her articles are shared by Wexit, that would draw a connection to George Soros and Wexit, and probably Tamara Lich as well. So I think that Derek Smith should be aware of that in particular.
Okay. Fair enough.
So
So
yeah, I just want to throw that one in there. You got any questions about that one before I move to the next thing I'll say? Or
no, not really. I mean, I can tell you that today I received questions from people asking about the reference to Maverick on that chart, and people were saying, well, why are you on there? And I had to point out to them that it's not really a reference to me. It's a reference to the Maverick Party, political party in Western Canada,
exactly.
which is part of the Wexit movement.
Maverick is also known as Wexit, by the way, just to clear the air there.
Yeah, so it's not me.
So, yes, no, definitely not. Maverick Multimedia, if you flip sideways, it's 33, like 33rd degree Mason. No, I'm kidding there. I'm just kidding. Just wanted to throw that one in there. Sorry.
That's okay. That's
so. So anyway, there, I just. Okay, good. Yeah, exactly. Get the truth around here to out you shill. So anyway, what I want to point out as well is because there was a little bit of talk about Rebel News, and Ezra Levant. So I just want to bring up that there's a different. It's an primarily American think tank. It's called the Atlas Network, and it's largely funded by the Koch family. Right, which is like the polar opposite of George Soros in terms of public image, right?
Yep.
So the Atlas Network has funded the Fraser Institute, which is a place where Ezra Levant has attended. It has funded the Montreal Economic Institute, a think tank that Maxime Bernier used to work at, and it as well funds the JCCF, who we know today. John Carpe, or John Carpayment, as I like to call him.
Yeah, well, conservative operations, right? Affiliated.
I wouldn't, well, conservative, liberal, it's all a smokescreen, right? Like, for instance, look at how I just connected Soros to Maverick. Sorry, I should say Wexit. But look at how I connected Soros to Wexit, right? That's just to show you that the political spectrum is an illusion, and that while Koch and Soros might not have even met one another, they still work together on the same agenda. You follow?
Yeah. But to simplify
So,
things,
the
you know,
other
but look, one of the things that I've tried to do, you know, is yesterday I was trying to present just a single piece of information because I spent 2 weeks approximately laying out a lot of different information for people. And I think just a
Sure,
lot of
yeah.
people were confused. So I just took a single piece of information yesterday to present that and look at what has happened. Just one little piece of information. And I'm a little reluctant to even
Well,
continue going down all these different roads on other subjects because that single piece of information has resulted in all this controversy. You know, you're a cop.
welcome to the truth, man.
Like,
Well,
you're a
welcome to the
cop,
truth,
Rick.
and you know this is what happens when you tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
Slander, controversy, left, right, and center, and then they're gonna do what they can to discredit you. Like, there's already videos going around about that chart that was sent to you by Tamara.
Yeah.
There's already videos going around saying that apparently Tamara or myself made that, which is ridiculous. By the way, I never made that.
Yeah.
I'm Matt the Unseated for everybody's information here.
Yes.
So, look, the last thing I want to say before I go, I just want to leave with, because I don't want to bombard everybody with 50 more things than I already have. But two of the names that are on that list are Unify the People and The Line. And both of those are corporations that are incorporated with ISED, which is the Innovation, Science, and Economic Development, which you can dive into on another show or something like that. But I know we've touched on it and I've called in and mentioned it. So
Yes. Yeah. So we'll look into that more as well and see what that's all about. I'm not, I think it's a little strange that an organization would be registered at that organization, but I need to find out more to figure out what that is all about and find out some facts.
it's basically a sustainable development ministry. It's a sustainable development ministry that leads to several different projects. And ironically, some of those projects, things that I've covered in different videos before I even knew what the hell ISED was.
Yeah. So
You know,
a lot of things to
anyway, yeah.
touch on, but-
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
a lot of different subjects there and different roads to explore for sure.
Yes, for sure, right? And ISED is the government route, so to speak. But obviously, this involves more than government per se, right? You have NGOs, you have even fraternities, etc., right? Like, yeah, the rabbit hole is never ending, right?
Apparently so. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate your call tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to explore things more.
No worries.
down the
Okay,
road.
I'll let you get back to it and take some calls then, man. But thanks for taking mine and thanks for hearing out what I got to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And here's Carol.
All right, bye-bye.
From New York. Go ahead, Carol.
Hey, Rick. I think it's Daryl.
Daryl, how you doing?
Good. What's up, buddy?
Well, you tell
Love
me.
your show. Well, you know, I looked at that chart yesterday.
Yeah.
And it took a really far step back. And it looks like an organizational chart. It really does. It looks like, looks like a chessboard to me also. Maybe I'm just giving a different perspective. Supposing you and me were going to play a game and we were going to figure out strategies. And, you know, I've actually done this in online games with groups of people, like, hey, we're going to fight a battle and we got to get these groups over here and those groups over here. But how do we incorporate them onto our side? Okay, first let's identify who's who. All right, this guy has influence over his 20 people. That guy has influence over his 30 people. All right, let's let's instigate something. And some people may be just like, well, I don't know if I really want to go that direction. Yeah, but there's going to be, a conflict coming, and you want to be on the right side of it. That's the kind of stuff we would do in an online game. So when I looked at that chart, I said, that's an organizational flow chart. That's probably someone planning. I mean, if you ever thought to sit down and put it on paper, what are you going to do preparing some, not just companies, but it looked like game theory to me. So
that chart was created with an online app called Coggle. And it's a mind mapping piece of software is what they call it. And so it's a flow chart. And you can go on there and put that stuff together. It's very clear that whoever did it spent a lot of time compiling the information, laying it all out. It's done in a pretty professional way. I couldn't find even a single spelling mistake. And that says something in itself. So whoever did it is fairly intelligent. It's clean, even though all the lines are squiggly. That's because of the software that is used. It's just the way that it's maps things out for you to connect all this stuff. It's a fairly complex thing. But, it speeds the process up. But still, a lot of work went into compiling the list and laying it all out, even in the software, with hyperlinks to websites, which John pointed out as well. That isn't something that somebody slapped together in half an hour. And it's accurate.
That makes a lot more sense.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Now, at first I thought maybe that's something police put together or government intelligence. And then I got to thinking about it today. And you know what? It was done, I think, using the free version of the software. And the fact that it's out in the public tells me it's not the government. Government would never do that. Now, if it was leaked, someone might have put it out there. Maybe it is a government document of some kind, or government intelligence or police intelligence that was leaked somehow, and somebody just put it out and left it there for the public to find. I don't have all of those answers yet, but it does raise questions. So I throw it out there for the public, and all I've had back so far, well, there's a lot more questions and a lot of accusations at me and some other people. And I'm surprised, because wouldn't the normal response be, gee, that's interesting. And what's the truth? But no, what am I getting? I'm getting people hammering me for just showing it. That's revealing in itself, isn't it?
You are getting hammered, but you're also, I see a lot of questions in the chat. I see a lot of people kind of like, hey, interesting. So maybe it's just some perspective. It's bringing some perspective in, we need to think.
Well, that's a normal reaction, I think, is that's interesting. What does that mean? And that for me, it just raises more questions, right, that I'm asking. And then suddenly I'm getting hammered by some people. Why?
I think a lot of people on there, it looks to me also like maybe a bunch of different compartmentalized groups. And maybe it almost looks like a presentation, like a pitching this. What's that thing called? There's a strategy in hunting. I've never been hunting, but I'd like to. But where you want to sneak up on a whole flock of geese. So what do? You can't get close because they'll smell you. You get a couple of horses. You send the horses and you kind of stand behind them. You let the horses go in, and the geese, they just see a bunch of horses. Nothing to look at there. But so stalking horse, that's the strategy. So maybe stalking in undercover. If I were to just take another step back, unobjectively or objectively looking at this, maybe it was kind of looks like a plan to organize a bunch of separate, very passionate, very freedom-loving people who had the right motives and intentions, string them all together, get them all flocked in a group, send them on in, impassioned, enraged even, and fan the flames of that rage, stalking in the midst. Maybe there were some bad actors that had some other agendas, but you know what? You made a really good point. And some call-ins also, that so many people showed up, it almost became too much. And then they couldn't do anything without being seen. And there was a lot of people, everybody was recording. Every grandma had a live stream going. So all of a sudden, maybe it worked too good. And from the observers, people who weren't there, it just looked like a beautiful movement. It was a beautiful movement. I think you're right in one respect that whatever was going on in orchestrating and planning this thing, it took off and it went so large. And it also attracted, a lot of people made the point that, yes, there were the truckers, and then there was the people and the movement and people coming from all over the country. Possibly whatever plans were perhaps in place or intended never kicked off, because how do you do that with 1,000 people at every single vantage point, seeing you, recording you, just doing selfies? So that's interesting. But this is you know, most of us have never been in corporations and had to draw out a chart or do a plan with on any kind of paper with organizing different groups. But also most of us, I've never been in the military. We don't know military operations, and it doesn't look military to me, because that's all usually square and boxy. But definitely, you know, this was planned in advance. If this, and I have no reason to doubt it, 6 weeks before the convoy, and there's this organizational chart of who the players will be and need to be, and who's got influence. Those would be the people charting out, okay, who needs to get proximity, who needs to fan the flames over there, thump these people up, praise them up. Hey, you're doing a great job over there. I'd like to support you a little bit here. Come and join this thing over here. I can see where it's like literally being kind of like shoved into a deck. So I don't think any of those individual people necessarily knew that they were a compartmentalized part, bigger organizational plan. But if that's what was going on, and this is what it's showing, which kind of is from a very far back vantage point, that's kind of what I would interpret this to be, is a chessboard and all the individual items on there as being pawns and rooks and knights and kings. And maybe, I don't know if that program has the ability to give a plus value to some groups and make some have more attraction than others and pulls the line a little bit this way. But in the middle, what do you see in the middle of that? A whole big squiggle mess of what? Chaos? How does that say? And who do we know that says something, out of chaos comes order, or out of order comes chaos? Anyway, it looks like intentional chaos, but like what also happens in the middle of that type of storm. So I'm not going to stray from my personal, in my heart, feeling that what I saw last year, from what I could see, was absolutely touched my heart. And seeing this, oh, okay. So, and listen, I'm in New York. We had something similar happen here, and there's a lot of questions about that. There's a lot of very, very there are a lot of questions unanswered. There are a lot of strange circumstances with different groups. When the money starts accumulating and people start sidling up and getting close to one group or another, and all of a sudden we watched beautiful things that we had been watching get hijacked. And the grifters come in, and you think it's just out of greed, and it is. But then it's just like there's a puppet master or several kind of pushing these different groups together. And okay, so there's definitely intelligence behind this. That's all I'll say. Love you, Rick. Keep doing what you're doing. And, you know, if the one thing comes out of everything that we are seeing here is ask questions, open ourselves to possibilities that maybe we all got used. And hey, listen, I donated to a lot of different things back then. I wouldn't change it. I don't want a single penny back. and including the live streamers who I really appreciated getting out there, because like that's transparency when you've got thousands of cameras around. That's all I'll say. Love you guys. Love your audience too.
Hey, I gotta tell you, best call of the past week. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my pleasure.
Best call
Good night, guys.
of the past week. Please, 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 please call back in the days ahead.
I shall.
Thank you.
I shall. Thank you, Rick.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great night. Take care, my friend. Guys, we're going to leave it right there. It's now just after 9 p.m. I'm going to go walk my dog. That's what I'm going to do. That was stellar. Great caller. Let's take this down. Wow. Yep. Yep. Yep.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.